Bah, weep, gra, nah, weep, nitty bong. And we are going to have a nice little Transformers Q&A panel hosted here by Anthony. Down below. Yeah, below
I'm
me.
hiding in the corner.
This is hard to do.
He's hiding. Those of you who are just tuning in, be sure to smash that like button. Be sure to, obviously keep your comments coming. I will do my best to answer some of your guys' questions in the interim, and we will do what we can. If you guys feel free to get it started. So, Anthony, why don't you get this show on the road?
Okay. So, good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining the Transformers Q&A panel. I am Anthony from H&E Games, and I will be moderating tonight's panel. So, today I have with me 3 Transformers fans with decades of combined Transformers knowledge. G1 is, of course, the best. But anyway, before we start taking your questions, let me introduce the panelists for anybody who's new. First, we have Rodimus Primal from Rodimus Primal. Welcome, Rodimus Primal. If you forget his name, it's Rodimus Primal. And tell us, and the viewers, where can they find out more about you?
Tell me more about you. Okay. I am a lifelong Transformers fan. Been there since the beginning. Grew up collecting the toys, watching the cartoon, then eventually got around to reading the comic books. Became a fan. Even solidified my fandom was Beast Wars. But I was already a hardcore fan by that point. Joined message boards, became Rodimus Primal, started this YouTube channel to bring Transformers knowledge to everybody. The initial prospect was to start answering fandom questions, but since continuities have become the reset button every year, it's just more so to now bring Transformers knowledge to everyone. So that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, so second we have Patriot Prime from Patriot Prime Reviews. Welcome, Patriot Prime, and please tell our viewers where they can find out more about you.
Well, hey, what's going on, guys? Patriot Prime here once again, and just want to let you guys know that you can find me on YouTube at Patriot Prime Reviews. I have my own Facebook page and Instagram and a Twitter that I dabble in slightly. I am terrible at the twits. Like Rodimus, I was a Transformer fan since the beginning. Of course, my first introduction to the Transformers was in issue number 3 of Marvel comic series. I remember going to a drugstore with my dad after a doctor's visit. I'm looking at the comic rack. There's Spider-Man wrapping up this giant robot. I had to buy it, and I was hooked. And of course, I'm a big G1er. My G1 live out in the boonies of West Virginia. I didn't have cable TV, so my G1 was Marvel Comics, and that's what I always go to. I even have every issue in graphic novel form, so I have a lot of Marvel G1 knowledge. I didn't really notice or see all of the episodes and came out on VHS. Give you guys a bit to Google that. And they came out on DVD. Really got into collecting after I got back from basic training. That's when Beast Wars was big, and it just kind of brought me back into collecting. And that's when I discovered, like Rodimus said, the message boards online. I discovered, hey, there's more guys like me out there. And then I really got into it when I went to my very first Transformer convention in 2013 in Charlotte, North Carolina. And for my 40th birthday, I got this tattoo with Optimus Prime holding the American flag.
Nice.
And I was nicknamed Patriot Prime at that convention. So fast forward a few years, I'm working at a casino throwing rich people out, which is a blast. And we all were avid video gamers. And one of my friends at the time says, hey, we all ought to get on and do Twitch and live stream our video games live. And I'm like, I suck at playing online video games. And he says, well, why don't you do a YouTube channel? You could stream that on Twitch. You know, all those stupid Transformers. And I'd like, got the idea. And that's more or less what started me off. It was almost a dare in a way. And I have just come to love it. I have met great people. And it's an extension of my hobby now. And I probably went on way longer than you anticipated.
I could have gone on longer, but I think a lot of people wanted to hear from you guys too. So
Okay, so third we have Kato from Kato's Collection. Welcome, Kato, and please tell our viewers where they can find out more about you.
Well, obviously on YouTube at Kato's Collection, Instagram at Kato's Collection, and I like Patriot Prime. I know very little of the Twitter, but I do have one. Pretty much use it as a place to retweet other people's cool crap and post a picture now and then. But yeah, that's where they can find me. I've just been doing this for, actually, it's about to be my 2-year anniversary of YouTube. So yay that.
Rock on.
And yeah, I got started doing this when hurricane made us all run off, and I came back, lost a job, and decided to, why the heck not get on YouTube and show off some toys with friends. And that's pretty much all I do is show and tell with buddies. And that's how we all met.
Okay, so I want to say the Brady Bunch, but we're 6 people short. Anyway, finally, you can find out more about me via H&E Games on YouTube. You can also find H&E Games on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and our website at haslage.net, where you can get links to everything. So the format for tonight is simple. Viewers will submit questions to the stream's YouTube live chats with the tag at H&E Games, as you see right here, because this is how it's going to chime, and I can pick it up. Okay. So I will then place your questions into a queue, of which I already have 5. So thanks for those who have submitted so far. And I will attempt to group some of the questions together, as well as mention who submitted each question. I will be the ultimate authority on the questions for appropriateness. After all, this is supposed to be family friendly and fun. So after this initial question, you may begin submitting your questions, if you haven't already started, in the chat here. And so now let's rev up and roll out, because I didn't want to steal Rodimus Primal's thing from that he stole from Optimus. Anyway.
Hey.
So the first question, which
Here we go,
is from me. What is your favorite currently owned Transformer action figure? I mean, like last week, I was really into Hot Rod, Rodimus Prime, and now I'm into this guy. Right here. So what is the figure that you're like, oh, I love this thing, I'm so happy I have it now?
Rodimus, you're first.
All right, so I'll start off. I really dig the Power of the Primes, Rodimus Prime, but I'm hoping for a one in the War for Cybertron trilogy that updates it. But the War for Cybertron brought in this bad boy, and that is the War for Cybertron Skyfire. I know everyone wants to call him Jetfire because that's the name that they originated with, but of those of us who grew up in the cartoon, this is where he showed up first, was the cartoon. And I love this toy. I love the whole faction switching thing, just for the fact that he started off, why am I joining this Decepticon cause? You know what? I'm going to be an Autobot now. And, he was voiced by Greg Berger, who I actually had the absolute pleasure to meet. And Greg Berger was awesome. And I even told him, I said, I love the fact that he was a scientist that just wanted to, wanted things to be better, and he had to turn to war. So I absolutely love the character. But then again, I love this toy because he's huge and he can act as transport, for the other Autobots. And that's why I'm digging this toy right now. So I think I went a little long on this one, but I wanted to gush a little bit.
It's your channel. Take all the time you want.
Okay, go ahead, Patriot.
All right. I was kind of torn between my current favorite figure. You can see one of them towering right behind here. It's the Earthrise Scorponok. I have always loved, not as much this toy, but I've loved this character. He was awesome in Marvel G1. He was actually the longest Decepticon to hold the title of leader. And I've always loved the guy. Once I got the G1 figure, as cool as it is, it's disappointing because the head is so small. I would have brought him over, but I don't have enough room. So it's great to get a gigantic Scorponok. Though I still would like to have one about leader class size to scale with Power Master Optimus Prime, because he and Power Master Prime went at it all the time. But I guess my favorite right now, because I can constantly mess with him without having to set him in my lap, will be Earthrise Snapdragon. This is a fantastic figure, and I told these guys earlier, unless something a lot better comes along, this is going to be one of my top 5s of 2020. It will be in my number 1 if it wasn't for the little gimmick issue with the dragon head. But right there, those, I guess, are my 2 favorites right now.
Hey, Patriot, did you pay retail for the Scorponok, or did you get it a different way?
I paid retail.
Okay, it was a question from Fetasahi. Okay, or no, was it? Oh,
It was.
oh no, it was Acid Storm the Rainmaker who asked that question. There you go. Okay, go
It
ahead,
might have
Kato.
been Kato's fault. It might have been Kato's fault because I had him pre-ordered on Amazon, and it was waiting and waiting. And I'm one of these that I'll put 25 on Amazon about every week just to build up that stockpile of credit, and I always just apply it to whatever order I have. And Kato's like, or it might have been you or Larkin, it was one of your faults, said, hey, it's on sale right now in stock, Big Bad Toy Store for $4 more than what I was going to pay at Amazon. So I ordered it on a Saturday and got it on a Tuesday. I couldn't believe that.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we were texting. I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Kato and I text a lot.
Okay, so Kato, what is your favorite toy of the moment?
I'm going to cheat a little bit because I know how some people feel about third-party figures, but most of my collection and most of my reviews are third-party figures. So whatever, deal with it. Right now, it's Kang Toys Landable. This thing is
That thing's huge.
is so awesome. It's Kang Toys. It's going to be the leg for their third-party Predaking, and it just looks, it's a beast, made so well. Actually, it's fun to transform, a nice little puzzle. This thing is a monster, and I love it. And the bull mode, I'm not going to transform it while we're here, but it is an absolute gorgeous piece with the paint. The plastic is great. So yeah, this is by far right now, Kang Toys, fairly new company, unless they're just an old company going with another name. They're probably my newcomer company of the year because of this. We've been thanks to Inutabi, we've been lovingly calling it Predacang because of Kang Toys. But yeah, that's there's
got a little love for third party.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Man,
that
that
little
one,
Overlord. It looks
they
like
offered that
Overlord.
again this past weekend, and I almost bit.
You need to.
Yeah, I know.
I heard. How does he scale with how do you think Overlord should be in height? You know, Jay. I mean, comparatively speaking.
Well, let's see. Knock my mic over. Got Overlord here. Here's you a Voyager.
Holy crap!
Yeah, he's huge.
This guy is a monster. I mean, and I've got his legs so he'll fit my shelf. I mean, here he is. This is him with Scorponok.
Okay. All right. So he scales.
He's up to Scorponok's belly button.
Such a great figure. Ships
Yeah,
in
so
2 boxes.
Then he scales well then with Power Master Optimus Prime, like, because in Master Force he was taller than Power like than Super Jinrai, but then he was the same height as God Jinrai, if I remember the height correctly.
There you
Optimus
go.
Prime is Mega Man X.
I think somebody might be a collector.
Well, I was referring specifically to G1, like G1 Overlord versus G1 God Jinrai, or Optimus Prime with, Power Master Optimus Prime with Apex armor.
I think G1 Overlord, isn't he? He's about the same size as Scorponok, isn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
One of my grails I'm searching for.
Okay, you ready to move on to the next question?
Yeah, we can go for it.
Okay, so Omega
Oh, is it-
Maximus asks, why was Optimus Prime killed instantly in the 1986 movie? I mean, if you don't know, I can answer it, but yes, very
Well,
good.
Money would be the first reason. Number two was because they wanted to they actually the origin of the reason why Optimus was killed in the movie came from the fact they were planning on killing Duke in the G.I. Joe movie, and the G.I. Joe movie was supposed to come first. And so the storyline idea came that they were going to kill Optimus Prime, and so Ron Friedman's idea is that they were going to basically make Optimus Prime immortal by having him live on within the new leader. And that was the concept of what eventually became the Matrix. And the reason why he died in the middle of the movie was so that the new character can go through a hero's journey and by the end become the hero. That's the reason why Optimus Prime died. It is money. You know, money is the obvious, factor. But, that is the real reason why, like in storyline and what the creators were intending when they decided to kill Optimus. They didn't know what they were doing, though. So
if you have Amazon Prime, there is a short, it's like a 20-minute documentary on it, and kind of like the death of, I forget what it's called, but it's really good. And it kind of goes into how we're going to kill off Optimus Prime, but they had no idea how much he meant to all of us.
Yep.
I forget what it's called exactly, but it's on Amazon Prime or Prime Video.
Okay,
Here's a bunch
so
of stuff.
there is a kind of a since we're talking about Optimus Prime, Robert Hardy wants to know, what is your favorite version of Optimus Prime's truck mode? So, of course, there's the classic G1, then there's the fire truck from RID, and was it Armada had one, which is the one with the galaxy form. Where are you at on the Optimus Prime forms?
I think mine would have to be Power Master Prime. I've always liked the idea of this big, bulky, armored semi. I mean, Power Master Prime, he's loaded. He's got guns all over him. He just looks awesome. So that's mine. I like Power Master Prime's truck.
That was mine too. For me, that was I loved that Prime figure because of the fact that it had cannons on the side of it. You could put the guns on the top, and it was just like a big armored truck, And also being a Knight Rider fan, the idea behind Goliath, which they need to do that. They need to do a Knight Rider crossover and maybe make like Optimus Prime or Motormaster be either Goliath or the truck from that Kit drove into. So I know I'm going on a tangent, but
Maybe Mad Max Road Warrior crossover. I want Road Warrior cars as Transformers.
That would be cool. Go ahead, Kato.
I think for me, it's just
Back to the
plain.
Future one.
Yes, I think for me, it's just a plain and simple square cab Optimus Prime. It was my dad drove a truck like that growing up. I'd ride with him on road trips when he was a truck driver back then. So I think I had a real special place for that, just standard square cab Optimus Prime, and still do. That's why I got this big fella right there as my big grail, my giant Lewin Resources Captain America, which almost would have made my favorite figure at the moment, but I didn't want to pick that jerk up and bring him over here.
I'm really digging Galaxy Prime right now, but that's just me. Okay, so Gotcha R wants to know what happened to the Autobots that died in the G1 movie, in the 86 movie?
They went to Autobot heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, didn't they put them on that arc thing where the mausoleum, and that's where they all ended up?
That's where their bodies went. There is the Transformers Afterlife, which was called the Allspark eventually became the Allspark, but it was called the Matrix in Beast Wars, was the Transformers Afterlife. And then I think they started calling the Afterlife the Allspark, and then the Allspark became the name of the relic. And so it's basically the Transformers Afterlife is wherever that is. I guess everyone returns to the Allspark. I think that is where the all Transformers end up.
To become one with the Matrix, right? Mm-hmm. Till all are one.
So Sam can visit them at any time.
Okay, So, starting with Patriot Prime, Charles Schultz asks, when did you guys start on YouTube?
I'll let you guys start because I'm going to go. I'll be a little longer.
Trying to think. I'm coming up on my 3 years. So 2017, October 4th of 2017.
Okay, so Kato, I think you're just at your 2-year mark?
Yeah, my 2-year mark will be officially November. But yeah, we evacuated September of 2018, came back, didn't open the store back up. So like I said, I've said it before, I did what any smart person would do that didn't have a job and started collecting Transformers again. And then started a YouTube channel. It was kind of one of those midlife crisis moments where it's like, all right, fine. These other people have had so much control over what I do for 8 hours a day. I'm going to do what I want to do for a while. And 2 years later, I meet these fine folks.
And Kato, I have to ask, how close are you now to 1,000 subscribers?
Well, let's see. Let's look at a update.
You're like 983 or something like that. I think it was.
Everyone who's not subscribed to Kato, get them over 1,000 during this chat.
He's been doing this for 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks. 981 at the moment.
Okay, so we need 19 people.
Come on, guys.
We're here
If
for
you guys
another-
aren't subscribed to my second channel, Rodimus Primal Talks, do that as well while you're at it.
Me.
Yeah, subscribe to everyone.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost you anything. Just do it.
I did put links in the description. So open up and in a second tab, subscribe, X out, go to the next person's channel, subscribe, go to the next person's channel, subscribe.
But definitely
all
subscribe
of us
to-
here subscribe.
Definitely to subscribe to Rodimus Primal Talks. He puts stuff up there that you won't see on this channel.
Yeah.
That is just as entertaining. So
Well, the
Definitely.
documentaries for sure are worth the price of admission.
I do want to do more Godzilla reviews. I definitely want to do that in my second channel, and maybe talk G.I. Joe and Thundercat stuff because sometimes I go off on little tangents. So
Real quick, because you said it. Hulu just put Thundercats on, and I've finally been able to watch the 2011 version. That is so good.
Yep.
That is so good.
Yeah, I agree. I really liked the 2011 version, and I was sad that what the corporate meddling did to cancel it.
I haven't watched
What's that?
I haven't seen it all yet. I'm not done.
Oh yeah.
Oh, don't ruin it. Yeah.
No, I'm not
Fantastic.
ruining it. I'm saying like the corporate meddling that caused the cancellation of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like it only went one season. So it should have gone a second season, but they ended up canceling it, and they were saying, "Oh, low ratings." Well, you kept changing the time slot so nobody can watch it.
Yep.
So
That's what killed the Masters of the Universe cartoon too. That was amazing.
that was really good too. I met Cam Clark, by the way, who did He-Man in that show, who was also Leonardo in '87 Ninja Turtles.
The only thing that I don't want to happen with Thundercats, and it's I really do want it to happen, but right now when I walk down the aisle at Walmart, I see He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers all in the same aisle. I swear to you, if I see Thundercats on that aisle too, I'm first I'm gonna go friggin' broke, but second I'll make a video.
Okay, so back on track. Rodimus, you started a number of years ago.
I started let's see. I started learning how to video edit in 2015. I already had the YouTube channel just to comment on people's, channels. And then around 2015, I started learning how to video edit. And I started doing I tried doing a game review first. No. Yeah, I did a game review first for Transformers Devastation. Then I did, Super Star Wars. And then I did Who Became Cyclonus as my first Transformers discussion. And that was all in 2015. And it got copyright claimed right away. I had to learn how to make it work with fair use and how to edit my content better. And then I started making more and more discussion videos. So it's been, I think October of 2015 is where I think where I consider like the start of the channel. So I've been going for a while, at this point.
Okay,
You know?
so Feta Sahi, I don't know, this is more of an observation, but has anybody noticed that G1 Primus looks like Rodimus Primal, or Rodimus Prime?
Yeah, that was all Simon Furman's deal, and Jeff Senior, right? Simon Furman and Jeff Senior kind of made Primus look like, because when they did the Legacy of Unicron in the UK comics, they made Primus look like Rodimus Prime, and I think that was deliberate because they wanted a reason for why Rodimus was the chosen one. And I think that was Simon Furman's reasoning behind it. So, yeah.
Okay. So Catherine Campbell wants to know, and we'll start with Kato. Who's your overall favorite character?
Oh, Sunstreaker. That's easy. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, Sunstreaker. So I know nobody loves Sunstreaker that much, but it was my very first. What's that?
Stay tuned.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. It was my very first Transformer that was ever bought for me for my birthday as a kid. So I was 9, maybe 10 years old when that happened. And it just, in the cartoon, I know the whole Sideswipe Sunstreaker twist up, how that was supposed to go, but I love Sunstreaker's character, his attitude in the cartoon. So, and it's kind of stuck with me. So Sunstreaker definitely #1 character. So many memories there.
okay, so Patriot, what's yours?
Well, this may surprise a lot of you because of all the, this stuff here, but Megatron. I absolutely have always loved Megatron. And I was always disappointed in Marvel G1 because he really wasn't used that much in the comics. It was funny how Marvel G1, you compare that to the cartoon day and night. And love the character. Beast Wars came out. Beast Wars Megatron took it all over the top. And I've just always found that character fascinating. There's actually more Megatrons on that shelf than any other Transformer in my collection.
Wow.
Okay, and Primal, go ahead.
I think it's kind of obvious that Rodimus Prime is my favorite character, and there's a lot of reasons why. And I feel like it's definitely, it comes with the territory that I kind of have to describe why, because I get asked the question a lot of why do you love a character that you know that everybody hates? And I say, because he's not Optimus Prime. I love Optimus Prime, but my love for Optimus is grown stronger in the fact that I love Rodimus Prime. He's not perfect. He messes up. He's hot-headed. I can be hot-headed. Clearly, I'm very, very energetic. I'm an Italian. I can go off on a tangent. I can yell. I can scream. I can, believe it or not. And I very much feel like, in a lot of ways, like Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime is me, and like my life experiences feeling like I'm a dad now. And now as a dad and as a husband, I have to feel, I get that feeling like, can I really lead my family? Can I really be the man of the household? Can I really do those things? And Rodimus Prime has to overcome that. Optimus Prime already was already set. He already was the hero. That's why I don't like his portrayal in Siege, because it's not even pre-war. It's like the war has been going on for so long. But Rodimus Prime, he's gone through, like, he's a young kid. He thinks he can do the best, and then he messes up, and he has to live with the guilt, and he has to carry a burden on his shoulders. And now he is chosen, and even he is the one who Optimus dubs Rodimus Prime. Arise, Rodimus Prime. Like, it's, and then he even went as far as like when he was a zombie, like monsters, they made me a weapon to destroy the very ones that I loved in life, but you will save them. And he puts the Matrix in Hot Rod's chest and says Rodimus Prime. Like he's saying, no, you are the chosen one. You're supposed to carry this Matrix. And it's kind of like that stepping stone. And I love that about that character, the fact that he goes through that arc. And even when he loses the Matrix in Burden Hardest to Bear, it's like he has to learn, like, this is a part of me. This is who I am, because I've thought about giving up multiple times, and Rodimus Prime has had to overcome that. And that's why I love the character so much, and knowing that he's not perfect, and then he shouldn't be perfect. He's like, even when what they did with him with Hot Rod in Cyberverse, where he's like, like they were like, you're not Optimus Prime, and I was like, so that they get the character, is that he has to not be perfect. So I know I went on a tangent again, but I really needed to explain like my love for the character and why I feel that he doesn't get the fair rap. They say, oh, you should remember that he's the one that killed Optimus Prime. Megatron didn't even pull the trigger. Rodimus actually pulled the trigger. Hot Rod actually pulled the trigger. No, we didn't. We didn't. He might. So, yeah.
Okay, so Adamantium Matrix wanted me to note that everybody know that Kato actually interviewed Stan Bush. So if you go to Kato's channel,
yep,
Stan Bush. So on to the next one. The custom figure asks, who is Lifeline, and can you tell me more? So Rodimus, I think you actually said or mentioned something about who Lifeline actually was.
I did. In the season 3 episode Fight or Flee, Cyclonus and Scourge go through a dimensional portal. They end up landing on a planet called Paradron, which is when the war first started, a ship of Autobots left Cybertron in search of a place that was peaceful, and so Paradron basically was where these Autobots, they never had any weapons, and the Decepticons were able to quickly take them over. But when they crash landed there, they were injured, and they were nursed back to health by 2 nurse bots. And Lifeline happens to be, I guess, one of them. She is they used RC's animation model, but in green, or that like lilac green, and that's who Lifeline is. Then of course there is the G.I. Joe medic, I think, right?
I was going to say that's a clever ploy by Hasbro with G.I. Joe coming out. Let's name this Paradron medic Lifeline. Secure that name for a G.I. Joe release.
Yep.
Okay, so the next question then is from IB10. So I know all of us have different opinions on this a little bit. How do you think Earthrise will be handled? Will there be a hash of G1 or just a time skip? So are we skipping right to, I think it was 4 million years in the past, time skip, or are we going to go into a straight up, they're going to end up crossing with the Beast Wars? How do you think it's going to happen? So let's start with Patriot. So how do you think it's going to end up?
Well, for me, I find it interesting that in the Earthrise series, they all have their 80s vehicle modes. So I'm thinking there's going to be something with them traveling to the 80s, and there may be a time jump where the Beast Wars character, everybody meets at that same timeline because of something the Quintessons have done. Because the Quintessons are in play, you got the mercenaries in play, all of a sudden the Beast Wars is showing up, you got the 80s showing up. I just think it's going to be some, of course, time travel and resetting, like Rodimus said earlier, is all the rage. But I think it's got to be something to do with that. The Quintessons are going to cause something to have all those characters interconnect with each other. That's my opinion.
Okay, so Kato, what do you think is going to happen?
I think with all the craze of things like DC, not too long ago did the New 52, Marvel did the Spider-Verse and brought all the Spider-Men together. What I think and what I kind of would enjoy happening is if something like that happens, so that it would be a brilliant move on a toy seller's part. Basically would merge all the universes, and this it's been kind of done before. Merge all the universes so you can have multiple primes, multiple characters, all exist in the same area for one Unicron battle to end all battles. And what it would do in the long run is allow Hasbro and Takara to sell any figure they want, would fit into any timeline they want, or any any toy line they want from that point on. It would just retcon and realign everything and have one aligned continuity. It would also, I'll save that just in case there's a question for it later for what I think is going to happen after all that. But that's what I would like to see happen, and I think it would be a great way for them to line everything up and do whatever they want.
And what's really cool about that idea is it was already done in Generation 1 in Marvel Comics, because Unicron could pull characters from other realities. That's how Galvatron made his comeback at the end of the series.
Yeah, they did Galvatron 2, because it was Galvatron from a timeline in which
They'd won.
Yeah, they won. What I was showing before on screen was hold on a second here. Application window.
Comic.
I was showing the comic right here. This is what Optimus. Optimus didn't. Hot Rod didn't jump in the U.S. Marvel Comics adaptation. So
that was taken from the script, the first script of the movie. When those comic adaptations come out, they get the first draft.
Yep. Yeah, they had the first draft. Yep. But in the later issues is when Unicron yanked him out, yanked Galvatron out of time. And I think they're going to do that in Earthrise. I think Galvatron is going to show up so with Cyclonus and Scourge, hopefully. And we're going to get toys of them. And they're going to be coming from Unicron. Unicron is going to be the catalyst that is going to bring about the time universe melding thing with Beast Wars happening. So the fact that the Beast Wars characters are going to meet the G1 characters, awake, is going to be caused by, the universe getting messed around. And the thing is that they only have 12 more episodes to do it in. I'm wondering how they're going to do that. That's my I guess you could say, I really am wondering how they're going to do that. How are they going to, administer the whole idea behind Galvatron showing up? Because Galvatron, there was even a G1 Galvatron that was sent to the Armada timeline, and that Galvatron got killed by Armada Megatron.
Saber through him.
What's that? Yeah, he's a Star Saber. Because the power of the Minicons was so powerful. Because my opinion on Armada is Pokemon. Got to catch them all.
That's what it was.
Pretty cool. Yep. I think it was Unicron pulled Bludgeon, Galvatron, Thunderwing, and Dirge was his heralds for that.
Yep.
It was so cool. I was ordering the graphic novels when I was in Iraq, and that was just like my fanboy when I saw those in that comic.
Okay, so starting with Kato, Dandelion Arts asks, what do you think about the toy leaks for Ratchap, Cheetor, Black Arachnia, and the other Kingdom toy line figures so far?
I'm all for it. I think I wasn't a big Beast Wars guy. By the time Beast Wars rolled out, I was already, I had a job and was working and couldn't really watch it the way I did G1 as a kid. So I missed out on a lot of that love. Thankfully, with Tubi TV, I've been able to catch up on a lot of that. And I dig it. I think it's a great way to... I've said from the beginning that this whole War for Cybertron trilogy they're doing is, love it or not, is a big love letter to G1, and I still consider Beast Wars G1. Whoever doesn't agree, I don't care. But I just think it flows along with that same G1 story. But I'm all for it. Personally, on a collector's level, in my head, I prefer Beast characters that look more robotic, like the modern T-Beast stuff that's been coming out. But I totally get the whole Beast Wars love, and I think they look great. They look great.
Okay, so Patriot, what's your thoughts on the leaks?
All right, when Beast Wars came out, the only figures I collected was the Predacons. I just didn't like the Maximals. I thought dinosaurs, insects, and reptiles look so much more badass than rats and dogs and rhinoceros. But I don't know. They look cool, but I don't know if they're for me. I think with the Kingdom line coming out, I may not be getting every figure like I do now. There's a few select one, definitely Beast Wars Megatron I'm getting, the Galvatron for Beast Wars Optimus Prime comes out. But some of those core figures is just, I loved them in the show. I just don't want figures of them, if that makes sense.
Okay, go ahead, Rodimus. What's your thoughts?
First and foremost, I want to say, like, Beast Wars was like a reignition for Transformers for me. Like, when G2 happened, I was ready to give up on Transformers, in a way, because G2 just, I was like, I don't know, I didn't like the neon colors. And I collected a lot of them, a lot of the G2 stuff. So I was kind of like ready to like give up on Transformers because X-Men was big, Spider-Man was big at the time. And then Beast Wars comes out and I'm like, what is this? Why does it say Transformers on it? So I watched the first episode, I think it was April of 96, and I was just starting high school at this time. And I remember I was watching it and I was like, it's all right. I don't know, like it's all right. And then first season came and went. Second season comes out and I remember like someone was telling me, dude, Beast Wars is awesome. You gotta watch Beast Wars. So like I said, I kind of like, I didn't really like dig it. So I watched the second season and it ended with the agenda and them going into the Ark. And I was like, dude. Yeah. So I became instantly hooked. I had to watch every single episode. What I actually did, I became so obsessed with Beast Wars at that point that I actually, at 6:30 in the morning, they would record the first season and the second season of episodes, and I recorded them all in order. And I had like 4 or 5 VHS cassettes that I made, and even took out the commercials to get all of Beast Wars on one single VHS cassette that I can watch. Because I mean, I loved it. I ended up watching all of it, and I loved the characters. That's where Rodimus Primal came from, because at the time, we had heard that the third season was going to be, the third season was going to be the last season. We're like, no. So I ended up joining message boards to talk to people. And the first name I wanted to try and be was Rodimus Prime. And, so I said, when I started joining those message boards, Rodimus Primal, wasn't taken. And that was it. That was where Rodimus Primal came from. So I love Beast Wars. Beast Machines, not so much. But the toys, I really loved the Transmetal toys, but the first season toys were not that good. Even though they had ball joints, their animal modes were not that posable. So what I'm seeing out of the Kingdom line, like the leaks that they have come out, especially Black Arachnia and Cheetor, and good God, please make a good Dinobot. I definitely want those toys. Like, definitely Black Arachnia, definitely Cheetor. I'm kind of iffy on Rat Trap, but definitely if they do a if they Beast Wars T-Rex Megatron.
Oh, that would be awesome.
And like I absolutely loved a lot of the Beast Wars characters. So for me, seeing the season 1 Beast Wars characters getting a love and getting better toys, would be awesome. That's to me where I'm actually happy about Beast Wars, coming out of Kingdom for that reason. So, and who knows, maybe they might even make, they'd have to put me on stage and actually present it if they ever did, but actually make a Rodimus Primal toy.
That would be awesome.
He's an Optimus Prime or a Rodimus Prime with the Optimus Primal head.
We'll see. I don't know. I have no idea if they're ever going to make a Rodimus Primal toy.
Okay, so starting with Kato, stop motion reviewer says, what do you think, or which character do you think has the least representation? He says, I feel like Ultra Magnus is becoming the new cliff jumper. So who? I mean, Magnus was in the newest cartoon or anime was kind of just in. He had a couple of lines and then he died. But Cliff Jumper was literally just like a 4-second clip.
Well, I'm going to be biased towards Sunstreaker. He needs more airtime. We got to get this guy on screen. we need more Sunstreaker people.
Yes,
that's what we need. I think
watch as an animal.
Yeah, I think that I think Sunstreaker deserves some quality airtime. Yeah.
Okay, so Patriot, who do you think is underrepresented and should be represented more?
This is easy for me. Thunderwing was an awesome character in Generation 1, one of the best pretenders ever made, and you never see anything of him. And I don't want the IDW jack-o'-lantern face pump Thunderwing with the godlike powers. Give me Marvel G1, the psychotic Thunderwing who was able to take the Matrix and wield it. The only Decepticon to wield the Matrix. Bring Thunderwing back. Hashtag bring Thunderwing back.
That's a big hashtag. We gotta.
So Rodimus, who do you think is underserved appearance-wise?
Thunderwing is a good choice. I would also venture to say some of the Japanese continuity. I would love to see Star Saber, not IDW Zealot who slices and dices people. I want to see the Star Saber from Victory. You know, him and Deathsaurus, and a good representation of Lyle Kaiser. I loved Victory, like absolutely loved Victory, and I would love to see Star Saber, Deathsaurus, and Lyle Kaiser. You know, all 6 of them, not 5, not turning Deathsaurus into the torso, not that box set that they gave us that wasn't that good. No, I want a good Lyle Kaiser, especially a full-on 6-man combiner. You know, all 6 toys are really good. I definitely want to see that. And I want to see, like, not just Hot Rod, I want to see Rodimus Prime done right. I want to see him done right as Prime. I want to see Rodimus Prime as Prime. So those would be like my list.
Okay,
and
so
this style right here.
So the Terror of Death asks, what are your thoughts on the UK Transformers? I assume they mean the comic book. But I'm going to add, what are your thoughts on the Japanese Transformers? As Rodimus was alluding to, the spin-off series. Is there art styles that maybe you like or don't like? The character designs, the concepts, the stories between the UK comic book and the Japanese animes? And we'll start with Patriot.
Well, I haven't watched that many of the Japanese animes, pretty much Headmasters. I've tried to watch that multiple times. I just can't get into them. One of these days, I need to get them on DVD, sit down and watch them. As far as the UK series, I love it. I had so many of those books in trade paperback form. They were in really big trade paperbacks, and I sold them all off because IDW was going to reprint them all in big, thick graphic novels, and then they quit at volume 5. Before we got to the best story, which was the Time Wars story, which showed probably the best death of a Transformer ever, and I was so disappointed with that. But the UK stories were a lot darker, and they could just go places that US Marvel couldn't go. And I think they're fantastic. And I'm hopefully one day IDW will pop the thumb out and finish their series.
Okay, so Kato, UK and Japanese thoughts.
Loved Headmasters, loved Victory. That's about all I've seen of the Japanese series. Fantastic. I'd love a proper English dub to those because I'm a lazy American and I don't want to read anymore. As far as the UK comics, I really wasn't interested in them that much at all until somewhat recently before I started collecting, and they had some of the best use of characters that they could do so much more with. They weren't tied down to the Marvel US story, so I'm all for it. I think they're fantastic. I love the storylines. I think
He gets ripped apart.
Okay,
This is the death of Galvatron in the UK comics. The whole portal ends up destroying him. Like
okay,
that.
So, Rodimus, since you had this open, UK and Japanese thoughts.
UK and Japanese. Okay. The Japanese series, I liked that they continued on with Headmasters. I did not like Headmasters as a series. I felt it got really boring after episode 10. Master Force was weird and hard to get into because it didn't feel like Transformers. But once I tried to remove it from Transformers, I began to enjoy it. And I actually really dig Master Force, but it doesn't feel like a Transformer series. Victory is awesome. I love Victory. Like Star Saber, he's comes swooping in very much like Optimus Prime, but he is, battle up. I love that. UK comics, I really dig the UK comics, but to me, I love Galvatron in the UK comics because he's just like a great villain. But there comes a point where I'm like, there needs to be a balance because he's overpowered. He literally rips apart everyone until his death here. So, this death scene, the only thing that can kill him is the universe itself ending. So, I dug the stories, but at the end of the day, I still feel like to me, it's hard to pick because I love the G1 cartoon so much. And then I would say US, a lot of the UK stories are really good. And then I like the UK. I like them. I really, really like them. I think I like them more than a lot of the Transformer series that came after. Definitely Marvel UK and Victory. Definitely Victory. My wife's actually in the comments and she's saying to me yes, I do like Victory. I'm trying to get her to watch. So, she's saying, I'm trying to get her to watch a Victory, but I have, she'd have to the thing is, she can be removed from watch. That's one of the things nice about Victory. You can watch it without it being very connected to the others, but except for God Jinrai. God Jinrai from Master Force is a major story element to Victory. So, if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it.
Okay, so I have two questions. I'm going to actually combine them. So, at Storm the Rainmaker and Lone Dragon asked, do any of you guys have the Seekers in your collection? So, there's the Elite Seekers and the regular Seekers. Who do you have? And then, would you be interested in figures of the characters, the actual humans? Like Spike and Sparkplug and Daniel and Carly. Would that be something that would interest you? So we'll start with Kato, because
as far as the Seekers go, are we just talking Siege and Earthrise or just in general?
It doesn't define which one, so but I'm going to say we're going to stay with War for Cybertron, so Siege and Earthrise. So Earthrise has Starscream, Skywarp, Thundercracker. Then we just got Brain Blanked, the Elite Seekers, except for Thrust. Oh,
I don't have.
Collected.
I pretty much got all of them except for Siege Skyward because I was not paying those crazy scalper prices, and I don't have Red Wing, so I think I've got everyone else, right? Yeah.
So you got Hot Link and what was
Rainmaker?
Did you get the 3-pack from Target?
Yeah, the Rainmakers. I've got the Skywarp, Thundercracker, Dirge.
Okay, Patriot Prime's just showing off.
Mine are all down here in this area. Yeah, I've got. I think I've got them all except for Red Wing and Skywarp.
Duke's still in the comments. Sorry.
As far as what was the next part of that question?
Do you think any human figures should be produced? Spike, his dad, his wife, his son, any of them. I mean, there's the Japanese characters also have human figures as people in the series. So,
as annoying as they were, I think it would be neat to have since Hasbro has the G.I. Joe 6-inch line, I think it would be kind of cool to do, well, they're going to do the 3 3/4, but I wouldn't mind it. I don't know that I would seek it out. I think it would be cool if they came with another figure more than I would want to buy one of its own. Someone asked earlier and I don't remember who, and I apologize, if we thought that the Transformers Red line would be a great place to do Autobot Spike. As far as that goes, yes, I think Autobot Spike would be great with the Transformers Red line.
That was Delmas Dugan that mentioned the Red line.
Good friend. He's always shows up. Good guy.
Okay, so Patriot, you have everybody then?
I have all the Seekers except for, as I lovingly call them, the Skittle Squad.
Hey, offhand, Lone Dragon also asked, did anybody have any issues with their Seekers, particularly the Elite Seekers? He's saying that there was issues.
I know for a fact my buddy Ghost Prime, he did a review on, where is he? On Dirge. And when he was reviewing Dirge, there was a pin right there. One of those pins was broke off. And then my good friend Bert, the Stormtrooper, right here, these chrome pins right here, one was pushed through too hard and damaged the plastic. Now, when I was reviewing mine last night, I noticed it looked like I had a blood stain on the wing of my Dirge, and I took some
killing humans.
Yeah, so I took some Goo Gone and it came right off. But other than that, I mean, these have been great.
I think Larkin's Lair had one of the was it on the Dirge? I can't remember which one, but had one of the wings was the upper wing on thrust. Or
Ramjet. My Ramjet's wing was the upper wing would just fall.
Yeah, well, he had one that was reversed, like it was. It was weird. It was upside down. Still transformed, but just the one side was. It was just an odd print or press or whatever. But it still transformed. But it was. There's been some QC issues with those. I know. I think I'm fine.
Yeah. So Rodimus, did you get them? And what about humans?
Currently, right now, the only Siege Seeker that I currently have is Hotlink, and I want to give a shout out if he is watching. Is Tim Rosser? He usually cosplays as Old Snake, and he was kind enough to send me Hotlink, and he's awesome. So he's the only one I missed out. I really wanted to get the Rainmakers, but I missed out on them. Because I didn't want the official, the actual, Earth Seekers as Cybertronian modes. I just wanted the characters that were not Earth Seekers to begin with to actually be the Tetrajets. But I do have, and I'm going to probably review him. I have Earthrise Starscream along with Henkei Starscream, and he's probably going to be in my sell bin very soon. But I don't have Thundercracker and Skywarp, and I don't have Dirge and Ramjet yet because just can't get them anywhere because just my local stores are the pits. But they're awesome, and I love the fact that we're getting the complete Seeker squads, to complete that Decepticon collection. As far as humans are concerned, I really would dig it if they were maybe this big, to scale with the War for Cybertron characters. Or any other Transformer, but they're posable enough that you can still move around.
Sounds like a 5-point of articulation, about half the size of Bumblebee.
Like a little
Yeah, like the size of a Battle Master, but give them knees, give them elbows, and waist and head. And it's fine. You don't have to go crazy.
About that size?
Yeah, that would probably work.
I
Mask.
was going to say, it looks like a mask figure, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so quick question here from Jase Do. Since they released the Japanese continuation of G1 on the stateside, do you think they will release Beast Wars 2nd and Neo in the United States? So we'll start with Rodimus. What do you think the chances of that is?
If Kingdom does what I think it's going to do, and that's going to reignite people's love for Beast Wars, yes, I hope so. Beast Wars Neo isn't even fan subbed yet, so like I don't know unless it already has been. I don't know if, like, as far as I know, Beast Wars 2nd has fan subs, and Beast Wars Neo has not been fan subbed yet, and so I would like to see them actually do that. So, is to bring them stateside, actually bring them both official subtitles and everything. But that might have to do with the animation studios, because from what I understand, Toei, they're the ones who animated Scramble City, and all the way through Victory, I think, and they gave Shout Factory a hard time about the 3 Japanese exclusive series. They would not allow Zone, and they would not allow Scramble City with sound. Like, they are like adamant. Like, Toei is just, they're very hard to work with when it comes down to people they don't like. So that's why Rhino was never able to acquire rights, and Shout Factory must have been able to pull some strings somehow. So we'll see.
Okay, so Patriot, did you like the Beast Wars sequel series? Now, I haven't seen them, and do you agree with Rodimus about them perhaps being released if Earthrise, the anime part of Earthrise, is a success?
Now, I never saw any of those. The only reason I know of some of the characters, other than the toys, was I think IDW put out a Beast Wars source book a few years back. It was like a Transformers universe, but it was Beast Wars characters. But like he said, if this is a big hit, and of course, the Beast Wars fans are now kind of hitting the age we were when G1 was retro. So it could happen. And I was going to bring up something real quick because you skipped over me and my human question. I would like to see, because Marvel Legends is so popular, I wish Marvel could somehow grab some of their characters. It would be really cool to have a Marvel Legends Circuit Breaker, or maybe DB Blackrock, or even they could go into a Dr. Arkaville with interchangeable arms or something. I think that would be really cool. A lot of people want them in scale with their bots, but I'd be fine having a shelf just of Transformer human characters. I think that would be really cool.
Why not? Because if they were able to not license NASA, they should be able to license from Marvel. Heck, Epic just licensed Marvel again for Fortnite. So,
and real quick, Anthony, let everybody know in the comments how they can get their comment read. I see Robert Hardy's been asking the same question 18 times in the chat right now. And
I know it's on the list through in order. So
Robert, we see you.
Super chat always works.
If you do the super chat and then Rodimus will interrupt. So, anyway, Kato, what is your thoughts on the Beast Wars sequels?
I think it would be great for me because I don't have a lot of knowledge, or I haven't watched a lot of Neo or anything like that. But it would be a great excuse for it to fire up in my mind to want to get to know more of it. So, really, it's kind of like pizza, right? Even really bad Transformer shows are worth watching. So I'm okay with it. Just bring it all, man. Just bring it all. I'll watch it and decide if it's great or crap afterward. I'll watch it all.
We'll watch Energon, right?
Yeah. I watched it once. I don't know if I'll watch it again, but yeah, I'll watch it. Armada, Energon. The comics were, I did read a lot of the Armada and Energon comics. They were better than the show.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure.
Dreamwave was underappreciated in its time.
Oh, Dreamwave. Absolutely love Dreamwave. It helped foster me getting back into Transformers at the time. I absolutely loved the stories.
Big funnel. That was a big funnel. A lot of people will agree that like Dreamwave was like a revival, because Beast Wars I think people were fiending for cars and trucks and airplanes again, and Dreamwave fed that itch. You know,
I was collecting a ton of Marvel.
What's that?
I was collecting a ton of Marvel comics at the time, or comics in general at the time. I worked at a comic book shop. When I saw those come across the what was coming out a few months down the road, I was like, "Oh, heck yeah, I'm all about that." And the Dreamwave stories fired up, made me want to go out and start looking for toys again. So for sure.
Okay, so I have 3 different questions. I'm going to group them together because they're basically the same thing. So I'll start with Tim Stute, Robert Hardy, and Omega Maximus ask about crossovers. So Tim wants to know, what do you think about the Little Pony or My Little Pony crossover? And do you think there'll ever be Batman or Ninja Turtles? Or do you think it'll ever get an animated movie like Batman and Ninja Turtles? Robert asks, what did you think about the Ecto-1 crossover, Ectotron? And then, does G.I. Joe still exist in the Transformers universe? So that's a lot of crossover talk. And we'll start with Rodimus because I suspect he has already thought of this.
Yeah, well, I mean, the crossovers outside of G.I. Joe, all of the other crossovers are more fun stuff, like Star Trek, Terminator, My Little Pony. They're meant to be fun crossover universes. They're not meant to like actually work within the world of the Transformers or work within the world of My Little Pony. They're just like, what would happen if they did crossover? So they're fun. Maybe a movie like kind of like how they did like Batman versus Ninja Turtles. Yeah, that would be fun, but that would also mean that Hasbro would need to finance something like that, and also licensing, you know. And like with My Little Pony and Transformers, it's kind of easy, but to do something with Ghostbusters, they'd have to license it. You know, they'd have to license it from the movie studios and stuff, and whether or not they can do that or not. With the toys and with the comic books, it's probably easier than doing an animated series or an animated movie. But with G.I. Joe specifically, I think that Hasbro wants G.I. Joe and Transformers to actually cross over. One of the reasons why they definitely had to hit the hard reset on Michael Bay's franchise was there was no room for G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe can't exist in the Transformers Michael Bay universe. So, and Hasbro wants more control over their storylines. So I think that what they're going to try and do with the next series of movies is going to actually have them cross over. Because they've already crossed over in the comics. They've crossed over in IDW. They've crossed over in Marvel. They've crossed over in Devil's Due. They crossed over several times. So, I do expect to see G.I. Joe and Transformers have a crossover in the future.
Which comic series was it that G.I. Joe and Transformers crossed over and it was in World War II? I've got that graphic novel. I haven't read it in years. It just popped in my head while you were talking.
Was that Devil's Due?
I'll have to look it up.
It was recently. Was it the Revolution? I know that
it's been out for a long time.
Okay, because I know that I don't know if it was IDW that did that whole Mask, G.I. Joe, and Transformers crossover, but that was modern. Wasn't World War II that I know of. So
this was really cool. It was different.
It's kind of like that Transformers when they were in the steampunk era, and then they retconned them as different characters.
Brandon and Charlene says it was Dreamwave that did it.
Oh, it was Dreamwave's crossover?
I think I know what you're talking about. I think like Chris McFeely did a basics on it. I just can't remember the name of it.
The art was weird. It was really dark. I mean, you couldn't really tell much what was going on. But
yeah, one thing that does there, it is Dreamwave. Yeah.
Dylan's
it was Dreamwave. Yeah, awesome. It was Dreamwave.
Okay,
Dreamwave had some great ideas. They had some great ideas.
I would like to point out that the crossovers, the ones that we've seen the last year or two, are all because IDW. So they pushed them through, got the companies together, and they produced a comic book. So every single crossover had a comic book mini series related to it.
Yeah, it was all them. Yeah, it was definitely all them.
So, Patriot, thoughts on the crossovers?
I think it's cool. Like Rodimus said, it's really gimmicky, like with the Ghostbusters, the Back to the Future, all that. But as far as doing a serious one, I'd love to see another Transformers not versus G.I. Joe. I think the very first Marvel crossover was versus G.I. Joe, and it was actually a pretty terrible story. It wasn't what we were hoping for back in the day, but I think that would be awesome. There's so many other crossovers that I would like to see happen, especially for us 80s guys, Airwolf, Knight Rider.
Yes.
It's not going to happen this day and age. The Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, yeah.
Street Hawk. That's really good. I got one.
Thundercats.
Remember Highwayman? He had the truck with the helicopter hidden in the cab.
Oh yeah, Highwayman. There's Automan would be another crazy one.
I don't remember
kind of
those.
like, yeah.
But I still want my Mad Max crossover.
Kato, crossovers. Thoughts?
I'm good with crossovers in comics and like DC's Elseworld type stuff that doesn't exist doesn't mess up the main timeline. I absolutely believe that G.I. Joe and Transformers should and will cross over. And I think if there's going to be like an animated one-shot movie, I think Transformers G.I. Joe would make a fantastic one. And I think it would be a great way for Mask to make a comeback.
I would have lost my mind at the end of Bumblebee if John Cena looked over that kid and go, "Hey, my friends call me Duke."
Right? That's right.
That would have been awesome. Because I thought with the Transformers movies with the military presence that they were working them in. They just weren't using the main characters, but it just never panned out that way.
I'd rather it exist in the animated world for reasons that aren't Michael Bay.
It wasn't Michael Bay. This is a pretty good one.
Yeah, it was good. No, Bumblebee was fantastic.
But the thing is that some people will argue, just like the Who Became Cyclonus argument, the argument with Bumblebee is whether or not it is in the Bayverse or not in the Bayverse.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to toys. I have two toy-related questions, one from Acid Storm the Rainmaker and the other from Mega Maximus. Acid Storm says, have you ever made custom combiners with your toys, with figures not from Combiner Wars? And then, do you guys prefer to buy Transformers toys physically or online?
All right, I'll answer first. As far as combiners is concerned, with G1 combiners, when my G1 combiner toys started breaking, I did try, from Wars. I stuck Wild Rider's head in, his head was the connector port. I stuck that into Onslaught. And, to mix and match the combiners. And when I went to pull Wild Rider's head out, Wild Rider's head remained inside the arm, and I lost Wild Rider to Onslaught. So I couldn't make Bruticus, and I couldn't make Menasor anymore, until like years later when I went to a convention and was able to pick up some of the Stunticons again, and some of the Combaticons again. So, I have tried, and with G1 toys, I don't recommend it, even though that they advertised that you could. As far as, and what was the second question? Part of the question was,
do you buy physical or online? Now, I like Amazon exclusive. You have no choice but to buy online. But what is your preference?
I online for when I can't find it in the store. I love going to toy stores. I don't like Walmart and Target. I can't stand going to them. And with everybody having to wear a mask, it's just not fun. But I miss going to 6 or 7 different stores and just seeing what they have and just looking at the aisles. Going to Toys R Us for like a good 45 minutes, not just to look at Transformers toys, but my wife and I were still dating. We would go to Toys R Us, and we had to go through the girls section so she can pick out her My Little Ponies, and then we can go through the the boy section, so I can pick out the Transformers and GI Joe and Ninja Turtles toys. We would go through the Lego aisle. We would go through our zone to start looking at video games and figuring out what we wanted to get. So Walmart is the worst when it came down to stock. It always has been, one of the worst places. And so now that Walmart picks up all the exclusives, it sucks even harder. So, but I miss going to a store and, doing so, like actually picking up.
His wife is on the stream, Joseph. She sees everything.
Yes,
Wow.
my wife is on the stream. I don't know. I don't know if she commented. But while I was talking, but somebody actually gave me a super chat and says, "All right, I appreciate that."
Okay, so
I thought
he's
He's got more-
blushing, man. Look at that.
He's more out there.
yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so Kato, where do you prefer to buy your toys and custom combiners?
Well, the obvious, most of my third-party stuff I have to get online. But the mainline stuff, what I would prefer is to walk down the toy aisle, pick up what I want, and go. She sees all. She's not going to get by it. Yeah, I prefer I'm going to second pretty much what Rodimus Primal said. I love going to the store. I love walking down the aisle. I love finding stuff and picking it up, paying for it, going home. That's my preference, 100%. This friggin' pandemic has annoyed me to no end with Walmart's having to wear a mask. They were already annoying. Now you can only go in enter and exit on one side. It's obnoxious. They've removed the fun from going there, what little bit there was.
Mm-hmm.
Target, I enjoy a minute amount better, but there are a couple of genuine, decent mom and pop toy shops around. I would much rather go buy physical than buy online. But what are you going to do?
So Patriot, original combiner and purchase preference.
Well, I've never really tried to make my own combiner, say customizing. About the most customizing I do is Toy Hacks or a Sharpie to help accent some things. But I really dug, I'm probably gonna get something thrown at the screen here. I like those Power Core combiners that came out a few years ago. I like to mix and match and see what I could come up with those. And my favorite one was there was a Mad Max looking one, so I like that. And as far as me purchasing figures, as I said, I'm in Podunk, West Virginia. My only option is a Walmart. My nearest Target is 2 hours away. Fortunately, I've made great friends doing YouTube. I've got a guy in Illinois who has hooked me up with the Target exclusive. Dilmas Dugan, if you're still in the chat, he's hooked me up with some figures. I got a hot shot from him. I got a red, you never get the center, got a red wing from him. The review's coming, man. I promise. I've been so busy. So most of everything I do is online. I'm a big Amazon guy. I pay for Prime, so I shop a lot with Prime. But with a lot of you guys, you've kind of introduced me to some new toy stores, new online toy stores that I've never heard of. And like you guys, I'm old. I miss the toy stores. I miss walking in and being looked at weird because I'm the 6'4", 240-pound guy digging through the Transformers and eyeballing the kid real mean because he's got the one I want. And it's not the same anymore. But Kato, I go to work early in the morning. I will throw my Jason Voorhees COVID mask on, walk into Walmart, and I will hunt my Transformers down. Doesn't bother me a bit. That's how I got Snapdragon.
Okay.
Before you move on to the next question, though, before you move on to the next question, I do want to shoot this idea out. Something that I have, have some things that might actually turn out into something. You guys, have you guys ever, speaking, because we love the toys, we love the box art on the Transformers toys, right? Do you guys remember who one of the artists was that drew some of the art on the original boxes?
Mark Watts.
Mark Watts, right? I've been talking with him, and we're shooting around this idea maybe of doing something where he does a box art for a character from G1 that never got box art before, and maybe doing something for that would, maybe even do like a diorama piece of like some G1 Transformers, you maybe have some characters from different years battling from G1 using his art style, that like, so he's thinking about doing something like that, and if enough people would want to see that, like maybe we can do, put up a crowdfund or something like that for him to do, something like that. And I'm shooting. I know I'm going on a tangent, but it's because I think it's a really good idea, and I wonder how many people in the chat would want to see Mark Watts do a G1 number one, a G1 like a character like RC, like actually give her box art, G1 style box art for RC, and then do like a diorama piece, and it takes him like 6 to 8 weeks to do. So like, that would be something like maybe we can actually like get people to, get behind. So
he does some great stuff still with his art.
He does. I met him in person. He's very eccentric, and he loves doing the art. So
yeah. I recently got the G1 art book, man. That thing's fantastic. Well, not recently. Hell, I got it about 2 years ago. Fantastic book. You like G1 art? Highly, highly recommended. And yeah, I'd be down for that. That is not only is it beautiful artwork, it really takes you back to the time when that's what you saw. I mean, you had no idea what the Transformer was. Now, I personally feel they ruin it. You got the figure, well, not him, he's hid behind artwork in his box, but you got the figure out there in your face. I loved it back in the day when it was the alt mode. You didn't know what that alt mode was going to be until you got home, other than that fantastic box art.
He even made Ironhide and Ratchet look good.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Terrible figures.
That would work.
So,
are you done or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Ryan Gibbon, I hope I pronounced it right. He was wondering what would happen if Optimus Prime chose Bumblebee as the new leader. How would the Matrix fit into his chest? So
in the rear, that's where the engine is.
Go ahead, Patriot. How do you think? You think he's gonna put it in his backpack?
Yeah, put in his back. That's where the engine is in the VW.
That's right.
Okay,
it's rear engine vehicle.
Arise, Bumblebee.
I would hope that would not happen,
Prime?
but I agree. It would have to go. He's a rear engine vehicle. It would have to go in the back. But the Matrix would have to choose Bumblebee. Maybe.
Yeah, the Matrix would have to choose him, which I guess with the Alpha Trion protocols, choosing him. Yeah, I guess like the same thing. But yeah, it would have to go in his back. I've never been a big fan of Bumblebee becoming like a leader. I like him being a little kid brother.
Wasn't he a leader in Robots in Disguise comic book though?
Well, that's the different continuity. So, that's where they made Michael Bay's Bumblebee and turned him into. They try to cross Bayverse Bumblebee with other versions of Bumblebee.
Okay, so this is more of a comment, but I think it's funny. TF Collector asks, "What's everyone's favorite series, and why is it Beast Wars?"
TF Collector, good one.
Okay, so Sam BZ or Buzz, who here has read the Transformers comic series? Now, I've read the Marvel, I've read DreamWorks, and I've read IDW. Is everybody else? I mean, just American versions. I don't read outside the English, but or U.S. But anybody else? Kato, do you read the comics?
Some of all of none is the probably easier. I've read some of all the comics. I've read all of none of the comics. Unlike probably the
Patriot. Do you read everything, huh? Because you collect books, and then you go off and even collect the compendiums afterwards.
Well, I don't get comics anymore. There's no place around here for me to get comics. I usually wait until the graphic novel or the compendium comes out. Pretty much. Well, I stopped reading IDW. I think it was after the first series ended, it wrapped up. I think it was the death of Optimus Prime. I've got all those in hardback, and it just got too expensive with all the stories branching off everywhere. Though I do have a lot of the new ones on pre-order. I really want to read the Terminator one because that one looked really cool just from the few screenshots I saw.
I
but
just got issue 3. It's spectacular.
No spoilers. But yeah, I've read all of Marvel G1. I have read all the UK, but unfortunately, I read them in trades. I read them on screen grabs on the PC. So I don't really have a collection of them other than the 5 books that IDW stopped at. I've read all of Dreamwave, and that includes Armada, Energon, all that stuff. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, so I want to say Rodimus, go ahead.
Yeah, I've read all of Marvel US G1. I read most of the UK. At least of one I can get my hands on. I did read all of Dreamwave. Like I ate up Dreamwave. Like it was like nobody's business. And I've read a lot of IDW. And I've skimmed. Like I haven't read the latter half of IDW, and because I felt like the stories like really took a nosedive. And like I have to skim it whenever I'm doing a discussion. So when I do the research, I really have to go into those portions of that part of the history of a character. So I have to like really like read that part. But I haven't read like everything in order. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's hard because it's like 13 years. So it's kind of hard to, catch up on it all. And like Patriot was saying, when it did that split, into like these characters over here,
or are we talking a different type of split?
When it did the More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise split.
Cat food and slug.
That's terrible. Say hi to everybody real quick.
Hi.
Hey,
That.
How's he do what? Oh, he's in the Ark. He's in Optimus Prime ship right now. Isn't that amazing? You didn't know that was real, did you?
He is.
Yeah.
The problem is it's inside a mountain and it's kind of skewed, so I'm actually leaning, but you can't see on camera.
All you guys have seen your videos.
I agree, Ed Talks.
Yeah, so Ultra Marcus asked a similar question, so I'm going to also give him some credit for this question as well, and you guys have answered it. So unless there's anything else, I'm going to move on to the next question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so No Network Found says, theories on the next Transformers movie. Since it was greenlit, he was wondering if you think it would be a Beast Wars heavy film, even if only Optimus Primal, then he would be happy. So I'm hoping for whatever movie it is a continuation of Bumblebee. I like that better. But so we'll start with Kato. What were you looking for a Transformers movie coming out, a new one?
I think I'd be more interested in something different. Like for me, I'm excited for the Beast Wars live action one to come out. I think that's probably going to be the most interesting to me because it's so outside of what I'm used to watching, and it would be a nice palate cleanse from some of the movies that have come out before, as long as it's good. Please, God, be good. And as far as like a Bumblebee sequel, fine with it. I really would, honestly, I would rather a full CGI live action extension of the first 3 minutes of the Bumblebee movie.
Okay,
Give me that. Keep the people away. Just give me. I'd be fine with no humans. Give me a Transformer story. It can hold its own weight. Let it happen.
Patriot, thoughts?
I agree with Kato 100%. You go to a Transformers movie, you want to watch Transformers. I don't care about seeing some girl bend over a motorcycle. I don't want to see dogs humping on a birdhouse. I want to see Transformers fighting. I want to see the story. I don't want to see, the Decepticons, the main villains of the film. Oh, we're going to hold those off until the last 15 minutes of the movie. get somebody who understands the franchise, get somebody who loves the characters. It doesn't have to be a rehash of the same thing over and over again, but give me that. I mean, I want to see Transformers, not all the human crap.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rodimus, thoughts? And also, what if Duke, Roadblock, and Scarlet just showed up in the movie? Would that change your opinion?
Well, yeah, because you're not dealing with the teen drama nonsense.
Okay, so it's more of the lusty sex stuff. You'd rather have the full-on military experience of war. Yeah,
That's what actually believe it or not, the first Transformers movie was supposed to be G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Then they turned it into G.I. Joe meets Transformers. Then they turned it into, they were pseudo G.I. Joe. Like Josh Duhamel and Tyrese Gibson were basically Duke and Roadblock, and if you actually look at the way that those characters are, like that's how they are. But the problem is that people are like, they become so attached to the Bayverse that if we go back to doing G1, unfortunately, you're going to alienate a lot of people. And so I think what probably needs to happen for the next Transformer series, like movie, either do a sequel to Bumblebee as its own continuity, or do what Kato said and just hit the hard reset button again and do Beast Wars. But if they do Beast Wars, they have to do it right. They have to tell the story right. It has to be from the future of after the Autobots beat the Decepticons. The Maximals and the Predacons are descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons. They time travel back to a prehistoric world, Earth, and they are there because because Megatron is hunting for something and he doesn't find it at the end of the movie. Let the movie just stand on its own, that the Beast Wars characters become animals and transform, and let it be something brand new, and give us good reason, because they were trying to do something with Beast Wars and give us something like actually out of it. It's either that or create a universe in which Transformers exist and we don't know that they exist, and maybe they're infiltrated. Kind of how IDW first started with Infiltration. They were doing an infiltration unit. But the problem is that I really want to bring back the Ark has already crash landed on Earth. I want to start the story. It's all about the Autobots and Decepticons. All about them. The humans, just like the G1 cartoon, were second fiddle. The Transformers were the stars. They can have humans in the movie, but the humans are second fiddle. Like they're not part of the main story. It's not about the military. It's not about a boy in his car. It's about they wake up. The Transformers have woken up. The Ark awakens, and the Transformers now exist, and they now exist in our world, and they're sneaking in. They're trying to hide because they're trying to hide from each other. And let the story be about them. Let Optimus Prime be the hero. Let Megatron be the villain. Let Starscream want to take over. Let Soundwave be dispatching cassettes. Let there be some good characters, And that's what I want. I know it's kind of going back to the G1 story, but think about it. That's Transformers.
That's the best story.
Okay, so real short question. Think of a character from Beast Wars. What is your favorite? Starting with Rodimus, what's the name of that Transformer? This is from Rectronics 007.
Okay, name that Transformer, you said?
That favorite Beast Wars Transformer.
Favorite Beast Wars Transformer, toy or like...
He doesn't specify, so we'll say in general.
I love Dinobot.
Me too. I prefer Transmetal 2 Dinobot.
I dug Depth Charge. And I loved Rampage. Just that like twisted spark, feel my pain, feel it. Like I love that. And Silverbolt.
Okay. Patriot, Beast Wars, favorite.
Megatron.
I feel like that was going to be your answer no matter what series this is.
Loved Beast Wars Megatron. I loved Inferno. He was just absolutely insane. One of my best favorite lines he ever said in that show was, "Pain is my friend. Allow me to introduce you to it."
Yes.
And then you have Dinobot, of course. And back in the day when I worked at a gym, I used to use Dinobot's phrase when he first met Optimus Prime in my fitness classes was, "I'm going to beat you the old-fashioned way, brutally." I mean, it's...
Oh yeah. That was like from second episode. How about Inferno? Yes, my queen.
Kato, favorite Beast Wars.
Dinobot probably had the best story arc for me, but I liked Black Arachnia too. I thought she was awesome. Yeah,
Okay.
I just think she had she was a really cool character through the show, and I always like characters that kind of sway back and forth between what they think is good and bad, and I really like Dinobot and Black Arachnia.
Okay.
Easy peasy.
So Omega Maximus asked, have you watched Thew Adams' Transformers knockoff Beatdown on YouTube? And I'm going to add, what are your thoughts on the knockoffs you've seen or personally had experience with? So we'll start with Kato. Do you know who Thew Adams is? And what about knockoffs?
I think Thew is hilarious. I think he's entertaining. And as far as knockoffs go, I love them. I've got one right there. I've got one. I collect knockoffs. Absolutely. So that's an easy answer for me.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Patriot, Thew Adams and knockoffs.
I've not seen his knockoff Beatdown. Yeah, that's what. Okay, make sure I said that right. And I've got no problems with knockoffs either. My MP Megatron is a knockoff. My MP Beast Wars Megatron is a knockoff. I paid $100 for those figures opposed to $350, and they look just as good. And I'm not buying them to resell them on the market for double the price. I'm buying it for my collection. I even have some harder to find GI Joes. Man, where'd that come from? I have some harder to find Transformers, G1s. That's where it came from. G1s that are knockoffs. I've got a reflector that is in great condition. That's one of the best knockoffs I've ever seen. That's going to be a great placeholder until I get the original. So if it's a good one, I've got no problems. But I'm kind of leery anymore having stuff shipped from China, though. I'll tell you that.
Okay, so Rodimus, knockoffs, and Thew Adams.
All right. So start off with Thew Adams. Before I talk about Thew Adams, I actually want to say I'm kind of a community guy, meaning I've watched a lot of everybody on YouTube, the different YouTube channels out there, and of course I've seen Thew. In addition, I want to give a shout out to the other YouTubers that are even in the chat. So I'll talk about Larkin, I'll talk about Inutabi, I'll talk about Fire Brothers. There are a couple of others that I'm sure that I'm missing, as maybe Melvor from the Game Chasers, whoever else is in the chat. But the Thew Adams, I've not seen his knockoff Beatdown. I've seen a lot of his videos, but it's just like any other YouTuber, I'll watch a few videos. I might not be able to watch everything because I'm usually busy trying to make the next video. But as far as knockoffs is concerned, I've heard the quality of knockoffs has gotten a lot better, but the last time I remember dealing with knockoffs was the real cheap crap. I have a G1, broadside. I think that did I get the Stunticon set? No, I didn't get the Stunticon set. I saw them. I saw how cheap they were. They were those Easter egg packs that they were all knockoffs. They were garbage.
Those were my fill-ins for a while too.
They were horrible.
It felt
they were hard. And I've heard that some people are like, oh, you should get the knockoff masterpieces, and I'm like, well, first of all, I don't even collect masterpieces because they don't scale. I mean, if I have this Ultra Magnus and he's smaller than a masterpiece toy, then it's kind of hard for me to want to collect the masterpiece toys. So in that same respect, there's the same problem I have with the KOs, because if the KOs are mostly doing masterpiece stuff, then you know the
That's why you have your separate master. Whoa, sorry. That's why you have your separate thing back here.
Okay, so I have I'm gonna combine two questions here. One for Inutabi and another one for Bibu. It says, "What character do you like the least, and who do you think is the stupidest character? And do not mention Mirage." So Kato,
Mirage, he's horrible. He's trash.
you weren't allowed to mention Mirage.
I'm kidding. I'm doing that because Inutabi absolutely loves Mirage, and we're close. So, I mean, not close. We're close. We're friends. Giving him a hard time. Worst character? This is going to sound terrible, but as a kid, I know there's a lot of fans of him out there, so I'm going to get crucified. But Warpath used to annoy me to no end. I hated his pow bang zoom nonsense as a kid. Now it doesn't bother me, but as a kid, I couldn't stand Warpath.
Hang on, Perceptor! The cavalry's coming! Dun, 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 dun.
Patriot. Oh, well, are you done, Kato, or you took a break? I don't. Okay. Patriot. Least favorite. Which one do you think is the stupidest?
Wheelie. I'm just going. I hated that character. I mean, in the movie, you got Transformers, the movie. It's so dark and everybody's dying, and you're so worried about your heroes. And let's introduce this rhyming little dude that uses a slingshot that can't do anything. I hated that character. And we popped in the season 3, which most of season 3 was horrible anyway. And then I couldn't stand. I liked him in the movie, but when he became a character in season 3 was Blur, because all they did for his fast talking was have him repeat the same thing over and over again. So that's my two annoying characters.
So Rodimus, least favorite and stupidest.
If we're going with G1, I would say like Wheelie, definitely. Friend, fine, look behind you. I definitely did not like that character, but Energon Ironhide. Oh, what have they done to poor Ironhide? Oh gosh, man, I feel like that's like a lot of pain right there. Like he's so annoying.
I will have to YouTube that.
I know.
No.
Okay. So, next question. No network found to ask, was Soundwave in the Dark of the Moon Bayverse movie just a name drop and a cash grab by Paramount? He didn't really do anything. The abomination that was Wheeljack in this movie did way more than him. So, Rodimus, it's a movie thing.
Here we go.
I don't think it was a licensing thing. They didn't have to say the movie or the toy in the movie to make the toy, because I think Soundwave was active in cartoons at this point, wasn't he? So it just sounds like you say Megatron, Soundwave, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, the movie makes money.
Yeah. Let's see. For Soundwave, they got Frank Welker to do Soundwave. They just didn't vocode the voice. In Dark of the Moon and in both Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon. I didn't like the design. I still can't stand that weird mouth thing that they decided to make it like insect mouth, for him. I don't like the insect mouth at all. And I don't like the fact that he can't eject, if they did that for Barricade and they did it for Blackout, they couldn't do it for Soundwave, the character that they were trying to make in the first movie. Couldn't just do Soundwave, right?
Ejected in, what was the second one called? Jeez, it was so bad.
Oh, yeah. He dropped out a turd up for Ravage. Just the way that he, yeah. I'm like...
You're gonna be mad at me. You're gonna be in the bathroom. What are you doing? After bed.
Okay, so Kato was Soundwave a money grab or just useless?
Yes.
Okay, great. Moving on to Patriot. Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
moving on. Jack Harp III asks, like other traditional souls, can a spark be eaten or consumed and destroyed forever? I thought this question when I watched Screw Attack Starscream versus Rainbow Dash. She consumed his ghost. So this is from Death Battle, I believe. So
Yeah.
we'll start with Patriot here. Can souls be extinguished? Can
You mean
sparks, I
sparks?
guess, be extinguished?
I guess if they would run into the robot devil. I've seen him on Futurama. He used to do that. I don't know. Didn't IDW have like a spark eater demon thing that could actually destroy a spark? And there was like a spark extractor, stuff like that. I mean, I don't know.
They
I
had
think
the Spark Extractor in Prime. I do remember that.
The Spark Eater and IDW for sure.
I think if you can extract it, you can be able to manipulate it or destroy it. Well, Beast Wars, they extracted Rampage's spark, cut it in half, and gave half to Dinobot, and then they end up running Energon through that spark, destroying it, and that's how Dinobot turned back into Dinobot. So yes, I think it can be destroyed.
Kato, the higher plane. You don't know?
No, I think that's it. I mean, that's really the answer. It depends. It's one of those things that's going to depend on the writer, right? It's like, can Batman beat Superman or can Superman beat Batman? It's going to determine on the story needed at the moment. But as far as what we've seen in stories so far, yes, a spark can be extinguished and eaten and traded and cut in half and whatever's been needed to do to carry the story along. Sure.
So Rodimus, it's just a vehicle to carry the story along?
Yeah, like that they're able to have characters either come back or they're able to have characters speak from beyond the grave, like kind of like how they did in the Matrix, when Rodimus would go in and speak to was able to speak to Optimus, speak to Alpha Trion, or whoever they needed to speak to. They were able to like commune with the well of all sparks, and that's also how Optimus Primal came back. Because he was killed, and the rift in time and space allowed Rhinox to go in and pull Optimus Primal's spark back from the well of all sparks and bring it back into a new body.
Okay, so Chief Snivy asks, how does Astro Train grow so big in Transformers the movie to hold so many Decepticons? Obviously mass shifting and maybe a little bit of TARDIS technology. So we'll start with Rodimus. What's your thoughts on mass shifting?
It's all mass shifting. I like the idea of mass shifting. I think it solves a problem that the toys have, but that the toys have to scale with one another. And so when they turn into their different vehicles, and allows characters to be able to be used, as transport. So I'm perfectly fine with that. And I think that they should continue to use it. Astro Train can mass shift. Omega Supreme can kind of mass shift. The combiners have to mass shift when they combine. So,
that explains how tough some of they are in their vehicle modes. I mean, they've mass shifted and they have become thicker and more durable.
Yep. Or Megatron becomes more powerful when he turns into a gun. The gun actually concentrates all his firepower into that small size, and he becomes the ultimate weapon in the universe. So he lends his power to someone like Soundwave or Starscream to be able to take out the Autobots. Not that he can't fire on his own, because if you guys remember in G2 or the G.I. Joe comics that led into G2, that Megatron was able to fly around on his own, but when he lends his power to someone else, he's mentally making them think that they're in control when really he actually controls them. But I like the idea of mass shifting just for that reason. I like the idea of being able to shift size so that the alt modes that they use work. So
Okay, so Patriot, thoughts on mass shifting?
I agree 100% with what Rodimus said. I mean, it was a staple part of the Transformers anatomy back in the day. That was part of what made them special. They could shift around and become more compact, more powerful. And yeah, I dig it. I think like Astro Terrain, he possibly could have the ability to mass shift even larger as needed, depending on what he was called on to do. Like if he's going to transport all those Decepticons, he needed to be bigger. If he's only going to transport a few, he could shrink down.
Okay, Kato.
I agree with what Patriot Prime said about agreeing with about what Rodimus Primal said. No, I think it's obvious it has to happen in order.
Right there.
Yeah, it has to happen in order to carry the story along. Otherwise, it just can't make. It has to make sense in its own universe, and that's the only way to do it. If things are going to carry other Transformers around or turn into a tiny gun, so yeah, it has to happen. It's awesome.
Now, Rod, real quick, what is so bad about that issue right there? The art is fantastic. Then the next issue, it absolutely sucks.
Oh yeah. The art here is great too because you can see Megatron transforms into the, into a gun. He can fly around on his own, with plasma blasts, alien technology. And then what's her name? Biggins. What was her name again? Was that?
Dr. Biggles Jones.
Biggles Jones. She uses a rail gun on one of his tanks to take out Megatron, and except for I think Larry Hama was writing this, right? So I could be wrong, but it didn't feel like it was written by somebody who understood Transformers.
Yeah, because the whole idea was they transformed that Cobra stronghold, and Megatron saw or had a readout or something was triggered him that he thought it was another Transformer because this castle transformed.
Mm-hmm.
It made no sense.
Yeah, definitely. So, good issue.
Okay, so Robert Hardy asked, what Optimus Prime would look like if he had scanned an army truck? I want to say Red and Blue Hound, but Patriot, what do you think Optimus would look like if he scanned an army truck?
Well, depends on which one. One thing I have always wanted is why is there no Humvee Transformers? I would love to see a desert camo Humvee. Now, I think there's a third-party Optimus Prime out there that transformed into a big missile truck. It's like the Assault Commander. He's in this glorious OD green camouflage. That's what I wore back in the day when they took that away from me. But yeah, I'd like to see, there's some military vehicles that have not become Transformers yet. I would like to see a howitzer as a Transformer, like a Paladin. Google it. It's worth a Google. A Hind helicopter. Remember back in the 80s, the Hind helicopter was always the villain. That would be a cool one. So,
the Hind D in Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I want to do a quick shout out. I just got an alert, or not a shout out. There we go.
There we go.
Just that. So if any of you guys subscribe to me on here, thank you so much.
Yep.
Awesome.
You guys got me to that 1,000 too. So
get my second channel up to 1,000 subs too while you're at it.
Yeah.
Rodimus Primal talks.
Kato, militarized Optimus Primes.
It's already happened in the third party, like Patriot Prime said, and it looks freaking amazing. There's been 2 or 3 versions of it, and right now the maker is slipping my mind, but I almost ordered it, and it's like it's essentially it's almost the same vehicle that Double Dealer turns into. I mean, it's pretty much what it looks like. It's like a surface-to-air missile launcher vehicle. I cannot remember who makes it, but yeah, I think that's probably what he would choose. But a Humvee would be awesome, and each one,
Rodimus.
Generation 1.
I think someone mentioned in the comments that Braun and Outback are technically Hummers, but they're obviously small, vehicles because they're mini bots.
Yeah, no one likes a small Hummer.
No. If no H2s, right? Because they're street legal. Because I remember when the Hummers first came out and people were driving them on the street and they were wider than the white lines. And you're like, oh, how am I going to get around that?
Hover conversion mode.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing some like I honestly think it would be cool to see Decepticons ticking on some of them, or Swindle could be a Hummer. Allow the Combaticons to get a modern update. Now I know they did it in third party, trying to modernize their vehicle modes, but kind of like actually do it officially. Maybe or either that or bring in some other characters. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Who makes that? I can't remember.
TFC Toys Supreme Tactical Commander Rolling Thunder.
That's it.
I think
TFC.
Cybertron actually the Cybertron Defense Force they were like military vehicles. I think Hotshot was a Humvee.
He was an APC.
He was a what?
He was an APC.
Okay, he's an APC.
Then was the big missile truck.
Yep.
And
Scattershot.
I was thinking Drop Shot. I had the Decepticon version.
Yep. So yeah, Scattershot was a missile launching, vehicle. So they've done it, and I think it's cool. Some of the Cybertron toys are actually pretty good. I think some of them, not all of them. I wouldn't mind getting rid of some of my Unicron trilogy stuff, unloading it. I need to make more room for some of the Earthrise stuff.
Okay. So Node Network Found asks, is the Bayverse Optimus Prime too cold-hearted, basically a killing machine? He feels like he's super dark, and he doesn't really exemplify the G1 Optimus Prime we've become used to. So we'll start with Kato. Do you think Bayverse Optimus Prime is dark?
He's going to ask me Bayverse questions. Man, you're going to get me in trouble. I actually don't mind Bayverse Prime that much. But yeah, he had his moments that were a bit too dark. That's all I want to say about Bayverse Prime.
Okay, so Patriot, too dark?
Well, if you think about the only other characters that asked somebody to give them their face was Leatherface or John Travolta. So yeah, he's a little dark.
Rodimus, you think it's too dark?
He exemplifies everything that Peter Cullen's brother, Larry Cullen, said not to do about Optimus Prime. When don't be a big loud hero. Don't be one of those Hollywood heroes. Be I'm going to misquote it because it's not. It's not on the tip of my tongue. Is like be soft enough to be gentle or whatever. I'm messing it up. But yeah, Michael Bay Prime is just. He's not Optimus, and the thing is like there was that moment when there are those moments where he does those speeches like fate rarely calls upon us on a moment of our choosing, or we Autobots are doing this. Like there are moments that he has where it's like, oh, he's going into the real Optimus, but then he goes on to the give me your face, or I'll take it's cool that he says I'll take you all on, like that's cool. But then he goes on to we'll kill them all, or I'll kill you, whoever did this to Ratchet, he's going to die. That's not Optimus. That's not Optimus at all. And they need to go back and not just the speeches, not just the action hero. They need to bring that balance. Siege couldn't get it. With what Optimus is, they might need to go back and watch who Optimus Prime was in the original cartoon and see, who he was and why he meant so much to so many of us. So, yeah.
Okay. So, Tumultra Spark asks, what's your opinion on Ultra Magnus? As I stated before, that Ultra Magnus is the Zero of the Transformers. Is Ultra Magnus the Zero of the Transformers, or is he someone else? Now, I don't get the second part of the question, but maybe you do, Rodimus. What is he? I mean, he's been put into the corner. He is baby in He's baby in the name of the movie passed on me.
Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. Thank you. So what is your thoughts on how they position Ultra Magnus now?
Well, just like Rodimus Prime, they seem to push Ultra Magnus to be like nothing. Like,
he's not.
you know, they don't make the character. Either they make the character too, you know, they make the character too, like law-abiding, like, you know, like you will listen to what I say, soldier. Like in Transformers Prime, that's not Ultra Magnus. I didn't like that Ultra Magnus, and I didn't like this Ultra Magnus in Siege. You know, the way he was in the original cartoon was that he was good enough to be a leader, but he would never ever be able to amount to more than second in command, and he knew it. He felt the most comfortable in that second in command. Like, I could give you advice. You know, you can send me out to lead a squad of troops, but don't make me lead everybody. That's who Ultra Magnus is. And, you know, I love the character. You know, clearly I customized my Siege Ultra Magnus toy, you know, because I wanted to bring about that, you know, even with the Toy Hacks labels to get the G1, you know, I even painted the chrome there. But, you know, I love the character as a second in command to you know, to both Optimus and to Rodimus. You know, I like that he was like one of Rodimus's mentors. So I like that about the character. So, and he was kind of like, he was able to be the action hero when Rodimus Prime needed to be presidential. So.
Okay, so Patriot, Ultra Magnus was the military branch leader, I guess, technically, but he also didn't want to be the overhaul leader. Do you think that gave him a good arc at all? Like, he can command the battlefield, but he doesn't want to have to make them big decisions.
And I think that works perfectly for him because I've known people like that. And it adds a bit of realism to the character, in my opinion. I mean, shoot, there's positions I've been in myself where I would rather do this. You tell me what to do. I will take care of this mission. I will do what needs to be done. But I don't want to be the one that makes him do it. If you know what I mean.
Right.
So, I like it. I think it makes him very grounded and gives him a little bit more of a personality.
Yeah.
Pretty much there's so many of these characters that are just, they're cookie cutter. Okay, this guy, he's a tank guy. He does this. He's a car guy. He does this. Ultra Magnus here, he's your battlefield commander that will, without a second thought, rush into battle, save the day, do what needs to be done. But he doesn't want to be the one who's at fault for leading someone else to die. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so Kato, thoughts on Ultra Magnus? Do you think because it sounds like to me Ultra Magnus compartmentalizes his actions, and everything has just an order. You know, A has to happen for B to happen. Everything's planned out. What are your thoughts on Ultra Magnus?
I've always liked Ultra Magnus as a character, and kind of like what Patriot Prime was saying, there are folks out there that are much more willing to go and lay their life on the line than they would rather send someone to go lay their life on the line. And I thought that, especially in the 86 movie, even as a kid, the obvious choice for second in command, plot-wise and story-wise, you expect it to be Ultra Magnus, right? But that little twist that it was this young buck hot rod that was actually the one. I think Ultra Magnus is a great character. I love the G1 representation of him. The Siege version of him was probably one of my only things that I really didn't like about how they portrayed him in the show. But yeah, I love Ultra Magnus. I think his character in the 86 movie is exactly what it should have been. He knows that he can go fight, but he doesn't want to send someone else to do it.
So Vincent Nagajian brings up, speaking of Ultra Magnus,
Win.
White Optimus
Win.
Prime. Say what?
Win. Win.
Oh,
And
you just pronounced
N-E-Y.
Wow.
It's win. That's
Okay.
win.
Well, continuing, and sorry for the mispronunciation. White Optimus, Ultra Magnus. I've gotten used to it since G1. I really thought in the 6 episodes that we just got for Siege that he would slip out of his armor at some point, which never happened. So starting with Rodimus, do you think that should continue? He is just a white base form Optimus Prime in his armor, because technically the armor is the Magnus armor.
That's how it should be. That's how it was supposed to be to begin with. Like, I consider him almost like a multi-component transformer in that respect. You know, in that, you know, underneath the armor is a white Optimus Prime. Now, personal theory is that, and always has been, is that Dion becomes Ultra Magnus, and, you know, was basically built to be another Optimus in case Optimus Prime, I guess, fell in battle. You know, it was kind of like Alpha Trion's backup kind of thing. And since he was made from Optimus Prime's friend, you know, that would be a good way about doing it. Now, if you see my videos about that, Dion, Ultra Magnus, and How Did Ultra Magnus Survive was my Ultra Magnus trilogy. Now, the character, in my opinion, how he's going to be, how I think it's going to happen, or at least I hope it's going to happen, is that in Siege, Dion is another character who dies, and Alpha Trion somehow could be still alive, and maybe takes Ultra Magnus's body, and the Magnus armor part of him goes around the White Prime, which is Dion. That would be cool. That would be really, really cool if they do that. So, like, make it where Dion replaces the original Ultra Magnus, and the original Ultra Magnus died at Megatron's hand. So that would be a really cool way about going about doing it. Like, Ultra Magnus existed, he died, and then Dion becomes the new Ultra Magnus.
Okay, so Patriot, your thoughts on Magnus being armor and a white Optimus Prime body?
Well, to be honest, in the Netflix series, when he was being tortured, I was waiting for him to fall out of the armor. I think Rodimus Primal and I talked about that when we were discussing Siege, but that, you know, in G1, that's what it was too. So I agree with him wholeheartedly that I always thought of Ultra Magnus as that extra armor. Shoot, when I was a kid, I would attach the Ultra Magnus armor to my Optimus Prime to power him up. So,
yeah, because
oh, good.
I was gonna say, because Rodimus and I did a video where he actually put on G1 Magnus's armor onto Optimus. It is fully capable of doing that. And a few more times down the toy line, like in the original Robots in Disguise, and in the newer ones, you can actually exchange armor bits between Optimus and Magnus.
Yeah, with Omega Prime. Yeah, right. You could. That was actually the Robots in Disguise, the Fire Engine Optimus. That was a cool toy. It's just a lot of pieces. A lot of pieces.
Oh, it made a fantastic ultimate. What was it? Optimal Omega.
Omega Prime.
Omega Prime.
Yeah, he's a big. He was once you put them all together, he's about as tall as Omega Supreme is in the current toy line. So he is freaking huge, and he's top heavy.
Yes, yeah, he's very top heavy.
Yeah. So Kato, thoughts on Magnus and armor and body, or how do you like it?
I would like to see that happen. I would. I mean, well, the one thing about the War for Cybertron Netflix show is they were pretty straightforward about it being straight modeled from the toys, the CAD models. They were all about it being, this is the toys on screen. So if that's the case, then he definitely has an inner body, and it's just a matter of what happens to it. I think they're going to use that as a plot device at some point. Otherwise, why bother? So yeah, I think it should be an inner robot with outer Magnus armor.
Okay, so speaking of, well, okay, Optimus Prime / Magnus, but there's a couple of questions here, so I'm trying to merge them. Now Jaws the Shark Reviews asks, what do you think of, or would you guys in a future Transformers show want Ultra Magnus as a leader? Now, in the Transformers series, the G1, he was not capable of being the leader. So like, because we just discussed it, he likes commanding a troop, he likes being on the battlefield, but do you think at some point in the future maybe he would be a good leader for the Autobots? So we'll start with Kato. What's your thoughts on that?
Temporarily, but not for any length of time. But again, it's just.
I was like,
I think
when he was leader on Earth, he got blown up. So
yeah, I think that would go beyond what his character was designed and written to be. If they do that, could he be? Sure, I guess if the story and the writer could make it work. Should he be? Nah, he needs to be the soldier, in my mind.
Yeah. So, Patriot, do you think Magnus could lead if he had to?
No, he's just a soldier. He's not worthy.
Okay. And succinct, right to the point. Rodimus, thoughts?
I'm kind of echoing on this here with the super chat from Enots. We're getting an Earth mode Magnus in Kingdom, and so I think he's just going to come back as in Kingdom. So
I just want to be able to put 3 cars on his carrier. That's all I need to be able to do to be like, okay, this is great. So we got 2 questions that are somewhat related. Jason Talkin, I hope I'm saying that right, and Vincent, what did you say? Nguyen? How'd you pronounce that? Win. I think it was Win.
Win.
So,
yeah. It's Win.
The first question was, why are Sound and Shockwave's voices replaced in the cartoons? And then what happens when Peter Cullen and Frank Welker are gone? But we know consistently throughout history, Peter Cullen and Frank Welker have not always been the voices of Optimus and Megatron and Soundwave and Ironhide. So they do put them in and out rather frequently. So I'm kind of like, where could we dwell to answer this question more of like what would happen when these 2 famous people don't exist anymore? Like, where could we go? Rodimus, where could we go? Who would save us?
Well, I did like Jason Marnocha, I think, was Megatron in Siege, and he did a good job doing his own Megatron. It seems Megatron seems to be the voice that, like, the character that actors are able to, come up with their own take, and it works. To me, Peter Cullen and Frank Welker are Optimus Prime and Megatron, like, hands down. I liked Neil Kaplan as Optimus. I was all right with John Bailey as Optimus.
Dragon says John Bailey also did Soundwave and Shockwave.
He did in the Bumblebee movie. Soundwave and Shockwave were voiced by John Bailey. He also did Optimus Prime in Combiner Wars, and he also, I think it's the Dr. Smooth videos, was John Bailey. I could be wrong. He's also the Epic Trailers guy.
Didn't he also do an Optimus Prime reviews? He had like blue gloved hands, like Optimus Prime was reviewing a figure.
Yeah, I think so.
A little bit.
Yeah, I think he was doing that. Gary Chalk, to me, is Optimus Primal. I can't, because he didn't change much when he did Optimus in the Unicron trilogy. I didn't like him as Optimus.
Oof. I love David Kaye just for everything he does.
I love David Kaye too, and he did a good job. Like, both David Kaye and Gary Chalk did a good job in the Unicron trilogy. I'm not knocking them for that. But to me, that wasn't Optimus Prime, and that wasn't the Decepticon Megatron. To me, it was, they were just taking the Beast Wars characters and applying them to, the Autobot and Decepticon leaders. And I didn't care for that and I also didn't like the weird tinge that they added to Optimus Prime's voice. Listen, next time you watch I think either Armada or any of them, there's a tinge on Gary Chalk's voice whenever he does Optimus in the Unicron trilogy. And it's obviously not there in Beast Wars. So, because they were trying to figure out a way to make him sound different. And so I've met them both. You know, so it's not like I'm going to say like they're bad voice actors. I like them. I like their voice acting. I don't feel like that Optimus Prime, the Autobot leader, you know, and Gary Chalk, they don't go hand in hand. Optimus Primal, to me, that's Gary Chalk. Like, step aside, Ron Perlman, please. Give me Gary Chalk, please. You know, but the same thing with David K and Beast Wars Megatron. You know, like I can't. Like I didn't care for the Unicron trilogy. You know, him doing Megatron, but he was great as Megatron and Beast Wars. You know, because you hear it with whenever Megatron says yes. That's supposed to be Beast Wars Megatron, not the Decepticon leader. And I guess I can say, I mean, the young Optimus from Animated, you know, that David K did was good. But I told David K, you know, when I met him in person, I was like, did you know that there's a character named Rodimus Prime? And pretty much what they did with your character as Optimus was they applied Rodimus Prime to Optimus Prime. And he goes, I don't have to look that stuff. So, you know, he's cool like that. Like, he's just a really good guy. You know, like, so when it comes down to Transformers stuff, you can talk with him about stuff and he's cool about it. You know, and you can tell him, like, I didn't like you in this, but I loved you in this, and he's cool about it. So
He doesn't have an ego is what you're saying.
yeah, David K is just one of them. David K, Frank Welker. I mean, I didn't make Frank Welker. David K, Gary Chalk, I met. Greg Berger was cool. You know, so like when it comes down to a lot of these voice actors, I guess like I love them, but they definitely feel like they belong with certain characters, kind of thing. So, yeah.
So Patriot voice actors, who do you love?
Well, everybody hit the nail on the head with what they've already said, but you left out one. Corey Burton as animated Megatron. I thought that was a great Megatron. That was a good Megatron. On the character. That is one figure I would like to see make a comeback. I love the dual-bladed helicopter, and I think I would love to see a modernized, not animated version of that particular Megatron. I mean, he had the cannon, swords. I mean, I was hoping for that maybe in this reboot thing, but I love that voice. Agree with you wholeheartedly. I can't hear David K do anything without hearing Beast Wars Megatron. My son was watching Teen Titans Go one day, and David K played a dragon, and I heard it, and I thought he was watching Beast Wars. I was excited for a moment. And yeah, but as far as the Optimus Primes, lots of good choices out there. And but yeah, I'd like to see Corey Burton take the reins as Megatron to continue that. He had that, I don't know, it seemed maybe British or European, but he's just very suave, yet he could, I don't know, I'm getting tired.
It was Brainiac. The thing is, his voice was Brainiac, though.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Like Brainiac from the Superman animated series.
Really?
Yeah.
That's DCAU, yeah. Also, it was The Night Begins to Shine was the Teen Titans where David K was the voice of the dragon.
Okay.
Okay, Kato, voice actors.
They're all great. I think there's plenty of people. Peter Cullen and Frank Welker are always going to be the voices that I hear in my head when have a figure in my hand. But there's plenty of...
Well, real quick, when I was reading the Transformers Terminator crossover, those are the voices I hear when I read.
So that's always going to be the case for me, but I think we've had enough animated shows coming out that a whole generation of people probably recognize David K as much as we do Frank Welker. So I think that there's plenty of voice actors out there that can do it justice. Someone asked,
not just them.
Keith, what's that?
I'm sorry. I'm interrupting. Go ahead and finish your thought.
Someone mentioned if Keith David would make a good Megatron. I don't know if he'd make a good Megatron, but Keith David's voice is iconic, and I can hear him as anything. I love Keith David. He's awesome. What were you saying?
Go ahead.
I was going to say that, like my wife and I, like, because obviously we have small kids, so we watch a lot of different cartoons and stuff. And so, like, when whenever there's a guest character, that we'll hear the voice actor and go, oh, there's Cree Summer. Up, there's Tara Strong. Up, there's David Kay. Up, there's this one. We can just hear them. Like I could literally pick them apart and like, up, there's Frank Welker doing a mother monkey or another dog. You know, I can hear. Yeah, you know, whatever. You can literally hear it. Anytime you watch anything, you know, you can pick up, especially Disney movies like Jim Cummings doing
Tigger and Winnie the Pooh.
You know, Winnie the Pooh or
Eeyore was Peter Cullen, in case anybody was wondering.
Well, Monterey Jack was first played by Peter Cullen, and he was also played by Jim Cummings, and so like went back and forth on Rescue Rangers.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. It was Peter Cullen. Oh, I forgot about that.
Cheese. Okay, so Christian Melchev asks, and we'll stick with Rodimus real quick. Did you watch the Prime Wars trilogy, and what was your thoughts about Mark Hamill's performance as Megatronus?
I didn't have a problem with his performance.
I know you didn't like the series, but
I didn't like the series. That's the thing, is I hated the series. But his performance was fantastic. He was playing. It's Mark Hamill. Like, you know what I mean? He can play a really good villain. Then again, you can easily pick up on his voice. Like whenever he does a villain like that, I hear the Joker. You know, even if it's subdued, and that's what Megatronus's voice was, like a subdued, a subdued Joker is what Mark Hamill was doing, and it was great. It was fantastic as a voice. The storyline was lacking, you know, and because I don't like the series, I don't care for the Prime Wars trilogy, and but he was a good villain, you know, like a very, very good villain. It's just it was marred by the fact that was a polished turd, you know. So, like, they were trying to fix the problem of a bad show, and they were having a hard time doing it. So,
Patriot. Well, because because I feel like we're going to a point where I know you did not like the Prime Wars trilogy, but Mark Hamill was excellent. Is what I think you were trying to get to.
Oh, Mark Hamill's excellent and everything. I can't wait to hear he's I forget who he's playing in the new He-Man series coming out, but I look forward to that.
I wonder if he'd be Skeletor, because I think he could pull it off.
Oh, without
he's
that.
He's like Beastman or Merman or something
really?
crazy.
Merman? Chew.
There's something weird about that. But we was talking about voice actors, and as soon as you said Keith David,
Mark Hamill's doing Skeletor.
He does. Oh, yay, I guessed right. Yay.
Yeah, Mark Hamill Skeletor.
Oh, I thought he was doing something off the wall.
Yeah, I'm Skeletor. I'll get you, He-Man.
I think
Next time, Gadget. Next time. Okay. Okay, so Kato. Mark Hamill, Prime Wars.
It was the saving grace to a horrible series. But I like Mark Hamill, but all I hear is the Joker. So it's crazy because I remember him. He was Stinkor. Jason Mewes is Stinkor. That's great. But I remember Mark Hamill from like the old Flash series as the trickster. But still, to me, he's always going to be the Joker now.
Okay. So, No Network Found asks, between War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, the video games, which one did you think was better? But I want to throw Devastation in there because I think that was the best one of all. But Kato, did you play those games? And which one did you think was the best one?
Oh, the best Transformers game? Devastation was good. I think it was a great G1 feeling game. I loved the Fall of Cybertron series. I think they probably overall was the best gameplay. I want another Transformers game and not this apparent turn-based RPG thing that's coming up. Yeah,
Okay.
I love video games. So yeah.
All right. So Patriot video games.
I've played them all. One of the best ones you never hear many people talk about. I actually played it in Iraq. I had a PS2 in Iraq. The Transformers Armada game. That was really cool.
Ahead of us.
I enjoyed all the Fall War of Cybertron games. Didn't play any of the movie ones. Devastation was really good, but the problem with it, G1 love through and through, but my God, it got so repetitive.
Yeah,
but still a great game. I mean, it's on my system now.
Yeah, I still have it on my PS4. It's Rodimus, Transformers video games.
I really love Devastation, but I felt like it needed more characters to be playable, and it needed make the characters not feel the same. Like all the characters were the same, even though they were different, except for Grimlock. Grimlock was great, but I think Fall of Cybertron I had a lot of fun with. I really, really dug Fall of Cybertron. Comparatively speaking, like I love G1 so much, and so I love Devastation, but Fall of Cybertron was a lot of fun to play, and I liked the little references they threw in the story. Playing as Bruticus was a lot of fun, and then having to put Megatron back together after he gets smashed by Metroplex, or shooting Metroplex and watching him go, "Why do you shoot me?" or something, or whatever he says, I think that was a lot of fun playing that one. War for Cybertron felt like it's what Fall of Cybertron basically fixed all the problems with War of Cybertron, but War of Cybertron had a better story, I want to say. I think it's kind of hard. It's really hard because all three games are really good, and those three are be considered like the best Transformers games. Yeah.
Okay, so Rodimus, the Fire Brothers asks, what do you want in a Transformers game? What features do you think would make it the best game ever?
I mean, I loved the cel-shaded look in Devastation, and I liked the realistic style robotic feel of Fall of Cybertron and War of Cybertron. So maybe something somewhere in the middle, but similar gameplay to both of those games. Still that third person, 3D world. I liked the exploration that you felt like you could explore in Devastation. Like you can go places, but maybe do something where you're actually telling a story that becomes canon to whatever Transformer series is next, or maybe actually make it fall in line with the G1 cartoon, because Devastation doesn't fall in line with the G1 cartoon, but actually does fall in line. So you can make it make the video games tell the story in between season 2 and season 3.
Okay, so Patriot, what would you like to see in a Transformers video game? Also, a follow-up question to a comment you made earlier. Acid Storm the Rainmaker says, how did it feel fighting Armada tidal wave in the Transformers Armada game? I don't understand what this means at all.
That was fun.
Maybe you do.
That was challenging, but also I'm trying to remember it was 2004.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's old.
You had to go inside them, didn't you, if I remember correctly, in that game?
I can't remember. It was fun. I mean, I played it nonstop. I mean, it was a big battle. It was a big battle. It was a fun game. I loved that game, but I can't remember. It's something I'm probably going to have to YouTube and get back to you.
Okay, so what about what features would you like to see in a new Transformers game?
Get rid of all the melee combat. If you're going to do a Transformer game, make it something like Gears of War, duck and cover and shoot. I never understood why all these Transformer games have to have all these ninja martial arts moves with their axes and swords. I mean, they got freaking ion blasters. Use them. So, and like the other said, make it tie in with something else. Like Rodimus, a great tie-in from season 2 to the movie. What happened in those 20 years? I'd love to see that.
Okay, so Kato, what would you love to see in a Transformers video game?
I would like to see, if you take Gears of War, mix it with Batman Arkham Knight, and make it cell shaded like Devastation, and make it fit between, maybe not cell shaded, make it fit between the Siege series to fill in the blanks. So a modern game with the War for Cybertron Siege. Let's say you have season 1 that we just watched with 6 episodes. You've got season 2 coming up. If they're going to be 6 to 8 episodes, have a fill in the blank of what happens between those. You have the big open discovery world of Arkham Knight, complete with transforming in the vehicle, going through the streets, and with the combat of a Gears of War. I think that would be great. Just a massive open world Transformers game where if you have melee combat, then it needs to fit the character. So if you play with a Prime or a Bumblebee, you're going to be shooting a lot. If you play with a Drift, you're going to be using your swords a lot. Stuff like that. I think that would be fun.
Okay. So, so Kato, sticking with you, Media Maestro asks, what were your thoughts on Transformers Animated?
I thought it was really fun. I think Animated did some good stuff with the characters. I really have been kind of searching online retailers a bit to find some of those animated characters because I really like the designs of them. And thanks to Tubi TV, I've been catching up on a lot of those episodes that I did not get to see. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, so Patriot, what's your thoughts on Animated?
I absolutely hated it at first. I hated the art style. I hated how kiddified it was, but I've mentioned this in many of my videos. I always love how these Transformers series start out so kid-friendly, and then about midway through season 1, they realize who's actually watching the show. And by the end of that first series, it flipped. It got more mature. I said dark in a video, and somebody got on to me. So I got more mature, and especially, I think it was the scene where Blitzwing flies down on Ratchet, freezes his hand, and then breaks his arm off, and you got this little, it looked like bone sticking out. I was like, ooh, this really kicked it up a notch. So I don't have, the only figure I have animated is my Megatron, like Kato. There's a few others I'd like to get. I've come to appreciate it a little bit more now. As I said, I love Corey Burton's Megatron. So, yeah, didn't like it at first, but I've come around.
Okay, so Rodimus, Transformers Animated.
I think it's a great series. I think it's absolutely a great series. I didn't like it at first. I didn't like the chins. I still don't like the chins in places. It's just the art style. And I know Derek Wyatt, he loves to draw characters looking like that. That's just his art style. But it's just I didn't care for the chins. And everybody all said they didn't care for the chins. But
out of context, it seems racist. I'm just putting that out there.
What?
Chins is a common Asian last name.
Oh,
okay.
Late, man. You're
continue on. I just continue on.
You must be getting late.
No, that didn't work.
Nope, that didn't. You flew it. It didn't land.
Because I thought it was a great series. I wish they would have gotten to that 4th season because the storyline, which has been slowly leaked out over the last couple of years, sounds like it would probably get us more into a more modern take. Because we all see the beginning of Animated where Optimus is young, he has a young crew, they're mining rocks. But I feel I just wanted to see Optimus get the trailer at some point.
It would have been cool. The thing is like the story did feel like an ending. It was rushed. That season 3 ending was really rushed, but it did feel like an ending. Like if there was no more after this, which obviously there isn't, then you're satisfied. But at the same time, there could be more. Like the way that they ended the show, like it was open-ended enough. That it was open-ended enough that it was that they could continue and they could have made a fourth season, but I'm okay with how it ended. The only animated toy that I own is Soundwave, and it was because I needed a Soundwave. I have a G1 Soundwave, but I wanted a modern action figure. I got to put this up here.
I think I also bought the animated Soundwave. Now I'm thinking about it. Was he the? Oh yeah, because he was the car that would become.
He was the SUV.
Yeah. Right. Okay, I do own him. Okay. So No Network Found asks, is making Chromia and Moonracer look the same in Siege lazy animating, or is it accurate to the comics and show? He says, I was shaken up by the character model, and I thought one was the other at one point. Now, I remember you did the interview, Rodimus, with the producer, and he said it was a cost savings thing to use similar models and just color them.
Yep.
So, I mean, do we really need to explain more? I mean, because it was money, as Patriot has pointed out. It was totally about money.
Yeah. It was because Polygon Studios is a very expensive animation studio, and they're a CG animation studio. They're good animators, and they're using the CAD drawings, but unfortunately, they only have, like, from what I understand is that, and he even said this to me, he says you have to make a robot mode, you have to make a vehicle mode, and then you have to make a transforming from robot to vehicle or back. So it's 3 models per transformer. And that is the reason why so many characters, there were so many recolors of the same character. It's why some transformers don't even transform on screen. And it's why there was even some characters who just never got shown, like Springer or Eight Face or whomever, is because they just didn't have, they only had so much budget to put so many characters on screen. And unfortunately, yeah, like my wife was really mad about Moonracer. Really mad about Moonracer. And I was too. I was more mad about Moonracer in that they had the MacGuffin that could revive her in their hand, and they didn't revive her.
Yeah.
Come on.
It didn't have batteries.
Just use the thing. This is the reason why you got this thing in the first place.
Okay, so a follow-up real quick, because then I'll ask the other guys. How many of the 6 different molds of that character do you have? Because they did 3 or 4 in the end of Power of the Primes. Then they did, like, Blackbird was a selects. Then they did Greenlight and I can't remember the other one, the red one, as Siege. So,
Nova's,
like, how many do you end up with? I have all 6 because I wanted Elita Infinite, or Orthia, I should say. So, how many did you end up getting, Rodimus?
I have them all. Hold on a second. Which one was this? There is. Siege did Moonracer dirty. Yeah, they didn't spend the budget on voice acting. I have them all except for Greenlight. I missed out on her, and now she's like $150 to get her online. Yeah, Greenlight is the only one of Orthea that I don't have. I even got Chromia. I have Chromia and I have Nightbird. Nightbird is in my box here that's not opened. So it's all the same mold.
Nightbird is my favorite use of that mold.
You think? You say it's the best use?
Really enjoys that. I think the vehicle mode works better. The robot, I mean, it's got a big backpack, but it is what it is for the transformation. But just something about that color scheme works with that mold.
Okay.
So
I want to get the new Elita one, because that's a much better Elita one than the jet plane.
okay, so Patriot, do you have all 6 of them? Or also, I want to ask anybody annoyed who does have the later ones about the wrist not bending in transformation, because that bothers the crap out of me. The knuckles drag behind them as you ride them.
I haven't had that issue.
I thought I mistransformed it for the longest time.
Yeah, because the ones they released at the end of Powers of the Primes, the wrist bent in for the transformation, creating a bumper. But then Blackbird and I forget one of the 2 others that came out afterwards. I think Greenlight was one of them. The wrists do not tuck in anymore.
I think it was green light.
Yeah.
Actually, I sold them all except for Nightbird. Like I said, I like that mold. I like the use of that.
Okay. So, Kato, your thoughts on the 6? Do you have them all? You got that Orthia going on?
No, I have Chromia, and I didn't like the mold enough to get any of the repaints. I think that they really should have done a better job of getting those Fembot characters out there. But I am looking forward to the RC molds coming out, Elita 1 and RC, Lifeline. I'm looking forward to all those. But yeah, I didn't like the Chromia Moonracer mold that much in order to get any of the other ones.
Okay, so Kato, Robert Harley and New Table ask, what did you think about the Transformers 1 Barricade?
Oh, Inutab trying to get me in trouble. He wants me to say bad things about the Bayverse Barricade. I loved it. I thought it was a great character, and I think it was a great way to bring that character into Siege. So take that, Inutab. I didn't bite, sucker.
Rodimus Barricade.
He texted me.
I like. I actually think it's like one of the few characters from the Bayverse that they did a good job on. You know, I don't like movie 1 Barricade. I actually think the Last Night design for Barricade, you know, with the brass knuckles and the cop shades, I think that he's got, you know, because he's a bad cop, I think is a great looking design. Personally, I like Guido Guidi's, or Guido Guidi, I'm mispronouncing it. His design using G1 smokescreen with a light bar as Barricade is a great update to make it G1-esque. And so I loved the fact that he was in Siege, and I would love to see them release, because I didn't buy that Barricade, but I do want them to make an Earth Barricade out of smokescreen with a light bar. And I think that would be really fantastic, because it would bring the character full circle, kind of like he's kind of like G1. He's, you know, but the thing is about the character in the movie is that what does he do? He gets his, you know, rear-handed to him to Bumblebee, and then he disappears. He gets beaten up, and then he disappears.
In the middle of the
killed.
He disappears.
Yeah, and so you wonder, like, I mean, I think he even got, like, he disappeared even in Siege, right? And then he just disappeared, or did he die? I'm trying to remember.
He just disappeared. I don't remember him dying, because I was always happy to see him on screen. I love that character.
I love the design of the toy. I was like, oh God, I have to have this. I just like the look.
Far way from his G1 figure.
Yeah,
Right.
I knew you were going to bring that one out.
Which is
That's what
funny.
I-
Yeah, Chris McFeely just did a basics on Barricade, where they show he shifted from that toy to the movies, and then the movies is why the toy line now has the newer version of the toy.
Well, don't forget Onslaught that they did in Energon, or in Superlink, was turned into Barricade in Energon, and that was the core of Bruticus Maximus. And don't forget about that one.
Oh yeah, he was a missile truck.
Yep. And basically it's Onslaught, but they didn't name him Onslaught, so they called him Barricade.
Okay, so Patriot, thoughts on Barricade?
Oh, love Barricade. He's probably my favorite thing out of the Bayverse. Like I said, it took this little no-name pink and blue race car with a cool name and created this really cool character. I love the evil cop idea. It kind of reminds me of the T-1000. And really cool, very underused in the movie. I was so pissed in the first movie came out, and like Rodimus said, he just disappears. He's in the chase scene. Michaela looks back, sees him coming, and that's it. You never see him again. And I love the fact that they've redone him very G1-ish, yet still keeping that evil police theme. He's like Prowl's nemesis. I love it. I think it's really cool.
The other thing that they should have done with Barricade is they should have brought in Prowl. And I would have loved to have seen a showdown between Prowl and Barricade. That would have been so freaking cool. Like Prowl versus Barricade, good cop versus bad cop. You know? because a lot of people, I almost feel like Barricade is a reflection of Hollywood's idea on, modern, without getting into the political arena. But I would have loved to have seen Prowl face off against Barricade.
Yeah.
And it would have been cool. The good cop versus bad cop. And, to actually have like Prowl make it a rivalry, like you were supposed to be a good law enforcement, guy, and you went bad and I have to take you down. So I would have loved to have seen a showdown between the two of them. Maybe they'll do it in War for Cybertron. Probably not.
Okay, so I have 4 questions that are somewhat similar, so I'm going to try to group them together. From Blade Allspark, Team Dinosaur Ria 21, MC DJ ACDC, and Lone Dragon, they all ask about Hasbro Pulse releases. So the first one is asking about Black Rorichi, which is the little weaponizer for
fast track
Black
recolor.
Zarek. And then also what your thoughts are on Nemesis Prime's upcoming release. And let's see if I'm going through this. What are your thoughts on an Earthrise Scout? Well, okay, Scrounge is Nemesis Prime, or Scout, or whatever they call him. Should he keep his vehicle or Cybertron vehicle mode, which is the one with the little, like the top on the header when he's in the vehicle mode? And then what about a smelting pool place? It's a lot of stuff I'm trying to group in here. Star Axis, and then who is buying the Transformers My Little Pony crossover? And I feel like Rodimus is probably your wife, but we'll start with Rodimus. Take any of these questions.
All right, My Little Pony and Transformers. I've shown the artwork to my wife. We have not actually read it yet, so I think like Patriot Prime probably want to wait for like the trade, for it all to come out to be able to read it. It'll probably be easier. Specifically for Nemesis Prime, I was not surprised that they were doing Nemesis. I thought they were going to do the Galaxy Force upgrade and make that Nemesis Prime. But I am glad that they are using the Siege robot and car and truck with the trailer. That's a cool idea. And I actually have behind me on that shelf over there, I have Power of the Primes, Nemesis Prime still in box. So I'm thinking about selling him to get that new one, because then it'll scale well with Earthrise Optimus. And I don't mind him being a Cybertronian truck because it makes him different. He already is different because he's black and he has a sword and he has he even comes with those Armada twin blasters things on his on the sides. That's because it's a really, really cool, cross over, Nemesis Prime. Yeah. Like all of those weapons.
I wanted to see what it looked like.
Yep. And my wife is My Little Pony, My Little Pony. So, but yeah, I really dig that. And the problem with Hasbro Pulse, and I think I called it out in one of my last videos, was it's people outside of the US are having a hard time getting their hands on a lot of these toys. And those of us in the US are having a hard time even getting the ones that we really want. They're selling out quickly. Scalpers are getting them. It's just a problem right now. So I think even things like Black Gorichi, which is like, is so many selects. It's almost too many, but then again, I think they really want to like give us every character we want, every character. So Ratchet, Ironhide, Prowl, Black Gorichi, Fast Track, this character, that character. By the end of it, like our wallets are going, please, no more.
So Patriot, yeah. Black Rorichi, Nemesis Prime, My Little Pony, thoughts?
Well, My Little Pony, I don't care about that. Nemesis Prime, I'm getting him. I missed out. There was a Siege version. Takara Tomy Mall, I think, put one out. Mm-hmm. I love the black Optimus Prime with the red windows. Looks really cool. I wasn't going to get the what's it called? The spoiler pack, because I thought it was either going to be Astro Train or Shockwave. I thought they was going to reuse one of those figures because I don't remember Nemesis Prime as a spoiler at all. But I think it's really cool. I like the fact he's going to be the siege truck with the trailer. Kind of gives that. I was trying to not cuss the Goliath look.
There you go, Goliath.
And for Nemesis Prime, he doesn't need an Earth mode. He doesn't care. So I think it's going to be really cool. I'm hoping that somehow all those weapons that can integrate into truck mode like they do in robot mode, like the Nemesis Prime, the Titans Return one. And you don't want to sell him because he's got that awesome Nemesis Pax figure that comes with him.
Okay. I haven't taken him out of the box, so.
Yeah.
The little figure that's actually the cab because the rest of it forms around him is an awesome little figure. It's fantastic. I almost wanted to get another one just so I could display that guy. And what was the other question?
Black Rorochi. Whatever.
It's cool, but I'm more for the fast track version.
Yeah, I also have fast track ordered. Okay, so Kato, Black Rorichi, Nemesis Prime, My Little Pony.
Black Rorichi is cool. Hopefully it hints that we'll get a Zarek. My Little Pony Transformers crossover. I won't read the comics, but I'll probably buy the figure because the lady loves My Little Pony. She collects too, so I got to get her something. And it's an excuse for me to buy it because it has Optimus Prime on it. So, yay. And what was the last thing? It's getting late. I'm so sleepy right now. I can't even think straight. What was the last question?
We've been on this
Nemesis Prime?
Oh, Nemesis Prime. I love that it's available for everyone who wants it, but I'll probably pass on it. I just don't have that much of a connection to it. Unless I suddenly become a hypocrite and change my mind. It wouldn't be surprising. But as of right now, probably going to pass on it.
I did pick up the first issue of Transformers My Little Pony Friendship in Disguise, and it's basically a magic interdimensional plot hole thing. So, I mean, you're not really missing anything. And, of course, the Transformers fight each other, and the ponies are defenseless. Yeah. Okay, so next question. Fatah Sahi asks, what are your thoughts on the upcoming animated Optimus Prime Megatron origin movie by Josh Cooley? Completely set on apparently completely set on Cybertron. I didn't hear about this. Kato, did you hear about this? No?
I heard nothing about it, but it sounds awesome.
Patriot says he didn't. Rodimus, did you hear anything about this?
I didn't hear anything about it. I'm willing to bet they're gonna, if they do anything, it'll probably be an interpretation again of State Games, which, if you're familiar with that, that's the UK book in which which Megatron origin is based on.
Okay. So then moving on, Bibu asks, why did they use GoBot animation and sound effects from season 4 of The Rebirth? And I think that was something to do with studios, because I remember seeing something about that some things got crossed over to make the cost cheaper in those last 3 episodes of the series. Rodimus, it seems like something you might know. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not familiar with the sound effects. I do know that the Rebirth was originally scheduled to be 5 episodes. David Wise wrote 5 episodes, and they ran out of money. Hasbro pulled Sunbow's plugs, and they only had enough budget for 3 episodes. So they had to literally take 5. David Wise had to take 5 episodes of story and bring the Rebirth down to 3. And they didn't have enough money for Toei, so they went with ACOM. And we know how well they animate. And that was it. That's all the money that they had. And even being able to have a season 5, which was a rerun season with Power Master Prime, was the last bit of money that they had. And that was actually filmed in New York because Sunbow LA closed its doors in 1987. And that was after Visionaries. So Visionaries was actually animated by Tokyo Movies TMS. And the TMS is also the same studio that animated Call of the Primitives. So if you didn't know that. Like, so if you want to know why the animation in Call of the Primitives is so good, it's the same animation studio that did Visionaries, which is TMS, which is different than Toei and different than than ACOM. And ACOM animated most of season 3 because of money. So it's really a matter of the fact that Transformers the movie, even though we all love it and we all say it's the best Transformers movie of all time, it lost them enough money that they didn't have enough budget to, use better animation studios. So.
Okay. So, Patriot Prime, I'm going to move on to a different question because obviously you can't really elaborate on that. He hit it on the head there. Lone Dragon wants to know, very simply, animated Wreck-Gar or G1 Wreck-Gar?
G1 Wreck-Gar for the fact he's a motorcycle. Animated Wreck-Gar for the fact it's Weird Al Yankovic.
And he's a garbage truck in animated, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean yeah. Transformers animated, right?
Right. Yeah. Kato, same question. Which Wreck-Gar is your Wreck-Gar?
G1 86 movie Wreck-Gar.
So you dare to be stupid.
I dare to be passing out in a minute, but yeah, I dare to be stupid.
He just Weird Al it too.
Yeah.
Rodimus, same question.
Eric Idle, from Monty Python, is Wreck-Gar. I like that Wreck-Gar the best. And give me Weird Al Yankovic as one of the Junkions that turns into a garbage truck. So I'm cool with Weird Al Yankovic being there, but let him be the animated Wreck-Gar, but just one of the Junkions.
Okay, so Eric Campbell asks, and we'll start with Rodimus here. Do you think playsets will ever make a comeback? And what about making an Autobot or Decepticon headquarters or sets of Cybertron? But I feel like the Titans are kind of yes, exactly. So Rodimus, do you think actual play, because they do all the interconnectivity things now with Siege and Earthrise?
That's so pretty much what they're doing.
Those are playsets with the Titans.
That's pretty much what they're doing now. Is that they're doing the MicroMaster bases with robot modes, which interconnect with the Titans, which interconnect with the MicroMasters. So they're already making play sets. And I really do miss the Micro Machines commercials. So like that's was really a cool I miss the Micro Machines guy, like trying to sell all that stuff.
John Romita Jr.
Yeah.
Or Blur.
He's still around.
Yeah. I mean, he's just probably super old. Patriot, what would you like to see in a playset?
Electronics.
Like lights and sounds.
Well, it adds to the playability. I mean, if you think about it, you got your giant. I'm looking at my Titans here. You got Metroplex. He was electronic. You had the lights and sounds.
No, he didn't. Or did the Thrilling 30 have lights and sounds? Ah, I missed out on that one.
Bring him over here and push some buttons. He had a big button on his chest. He would talk and he would light up. Then you got Triptychon. They got rid of the electronics, but they gave you Brunt. And then you bring in Fortress Maximus. He had electronics plus his little headmaster. And then you got Scorponok here, which great figure, by the way. But I think they lost some of the playability because, one, he could use some electronics and sounds, and they got rid of his repair arms, his radar dishes, his elevators. There's stuff. Great figure, but there's still something lacking as far as the playset's concerned. Of course, Scorponok, he wasn't never much of a city anyway. He was like a defense wall.
With ramps. Yeah.
So before we get into the final part, Kato, what are your thoughts on playsets?
I think I'm glad we're getting them back. I think the Earthrise stuff is getting those MicroMaster bases back. I do, like Patriot Prime said, I do wish there were a few more lights and sounds, or maybe some little gimmick like that. Of course, firing weapons is difficult nowadays. Voice boxes, things like that, I'd like to see make a comeback.
Okay. So, Kato, starting with you, this is the final statement. Whatever you want to say right now, this is your chance. Go for it.
Well, the biggest thing I want to say is you guys did it. You helped me get to 1,000 subscribers tonight. So, thanks for that.
All right.
Crossed over, so very grateful. Yeah. Some of that southern.
West Virginia champagne here, brother.
That's right. Yeah, so thanks for that for sure. But honestly, guys, it's like I said, I'm going on 2 years doing this, which is I'm a man among giants in the room. But it's been cool getting to play here and show off stuff and play show and tell with new friends. I mean, it's awesome and very grateful. And yeah, subscribe to everyone and don't be shy. Hit the subscribe button and just have a good time. Don't be a jerk to each other.
Okay. So, Patriot, final words.
Well, kind of like what Kato said, I am eternally grateful for each and every one of you. Never in a million years would I think that me doing this would have taken off. I mean, I started off as just an unknown. I mean, there's thousands, dare I say, Transformer reviewers, and to actually make an impact and to climb up and have people want to meet you at conventions and, meeting new people and making new friends. I mean, all of this right here, these guys I met via YouTube. If a lot of you guys know me real well, I've become good friends with Bert the Stormtrooper. He's a fellow veteran who does Transformer reviews. We've become great friends. We've even been able to meet up together, and it just blows my mind. I have people that send me stuff just out of the goodness of their hearts, and it's amazing. This has been an amazing journey. Like Kato, I hit a milestone tonight with 6,500 subscribers, and I can't wait to see where this goes. I mean, hell, I got Patriot Prime gear. It's something else. It's amazing what doing this, which is just me doing show and tell in front of a video camera because I'm bored at the house, and I don't know. It's been something else. It's amazing.
I always have a blast. I always have a blast talking with everybody. I'm obviously a big geek with that just loves to chill out and be a community guy with as many Transformers guys as I can. I never thought that I would even grow to almost 73,000 subscribers. It's I'm very, very close to that milestone. I'm hoping to reach 100K by the end of the year. That would be a great, number to hit, and get my second channel monetized, would be a great thing. Obviously I got to get that over 1,000 subs to begin with. But not even just that, like being able to chill out with Transformers guys, talk about this stuff. I mean, to just be able to be chill and geeky and nerdy and escape the world, I mean, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. I mean, you got this one, everybody's fighting each other and this is happening, that's happening. And we can chill out and talk about toys, and we can chill out and talk about geeky, nerdy stuff, not just Transformers. I mean, we're obviously talking Transformers tonight, but we could talk about Godzilla, we could talk about Star Wars, we could talk about, Ninja Turtles, Thundercats, My Little Pony, He-Man, whatever. Who cares? It's all geeky, nerdy stuff, and we can all love it and enjoy it. And being able to chat with other nerds and geeks and being able to have fun doing it is always a fun thing.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Just blows my mind. I mean, we all just recently met. I mean, I know Rodimus and I met about a couple months ago. Anthony and I just met last week, and here it is 3 hours later. We've had a blast, and it's just like I've said this before. It's like I'm hanging out at Applebee's with my friends, just chilling out on a Saturday night. This is great stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. So, for all of you who may not know, I actually do interviews of people. Plus, I do content, various tech, toys, and games. And you can actually see Rodimus Primal, Patriot Primes, and Kato's interviews on my channel at H&E Games. Also, the company technically is Hashtag Net Enterprises. We've been on YouTube since 2007, and we've existed since 1988. So we change as time goes on. So we do a whole lot of different things. So please do check us out. And I see a number of you have subscribed to everybody, and that I appreciate it. I know these two guys over here on the right side of your screen really appreciate it because you got them over some barriers. I until recently didn't even focus on subscribers. I was monetized until recently because of the changeover. So I went from making money every month to making nothing on my channel, but I still put in the effort. So I appreciate it when anybody offers to help. And I'm hopefully, because there's a couple of people who are on the chat today that I'm now going to go check out their channels, and maybe I'll interview some of them. So thank you all. And I hope to do this again, maybe even with some more people. So because I think the chaos was phenomenal. Now if we just add more people, it'll just be crazy, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, we consistently had between 120 and I think almost 170 people at one point.
Wow.
Consistently for 3 hours. So,
Yeah. Thanks everyone for sticking out because good grief.
Yeah.
You guys were here for the long haul.
yeah, it's midnight now here on our time, which those of us who are getting old, we can't stay up late no more, right?
Hey, my last kid moved out late last year, so I am good. I'm
I'll
fine.
be 80 behind us.
Okay. Well, I'm done here. Rodimus, Patriot, Kato, thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me moderate this.
Of course.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm going to give the outro here. So if you aren't already, subscribe to Patriot Prime Reviews, subscribe to Kato's Collection and H&E Games. The links are in the description. You can also, if you aren't already subscribed, subscribe to my channel and Rodimus Primal Talks, which is my second channel, which I do plan to make more content, I promise. So, it's been a lot of fun, guys. So, of course, once this video goes live, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Everybody's having their fun. But as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.
Hoo-ah! Shoot, that was hard holding that.
Yeah,
I've learned-
My butt hurts.
so does mine. I'm like,
I've got to get a gaming chair, man. I got to get a better chair. Look at this. Look, this is what I'm dealing with. This is my budget. An old kitchen chair.
ooh.
Ah,
Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
ah. I'm working on a pauper's budget. But I'm going to get a gaming chair within the next.
You can kind of
probably
see
week or two.
my gray chair I got here. I have to because I actually need a good chair because